Sure. I don't know how this works here. This is the first time we're trying this, so
Are we live right now?
it should be live. Yeah, I don't know. Here it says upcoming. Oh yeah, sure enough, we're live. All right. Well, this is the mic. So
Hello,
make sure you're
hello.
kind of close to that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're going, dude. We're doing the thing here. So this is what we're gonna try to do now. These BFS kind of live podcasts, and
It'd be interesting.
we got no viewers, but whatever. We're gonna leave this thing to upload once it's done. So I figure we're just gonna. You're a great first guest to have in here today. I'm hoping to get a bunch of people in just talk about BFS because you've been around forever. I remember when I first moved here, you were part of the RASP crew, so you even predate BFS, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Getting old now.
So like, why don't you just tell what is this to you? Like bike riding, like what is it like?
I started out on mountain bikes, but I kind of always saw it as like a kid, like the skate park was kind of like a place for like just anybody that could come and like hang out and have fun. And it's kind of just always been like that. My dad brought me to RASP like at least twice a week when I was like going through school, and I don't know, just fun going fast.
What do you think your life would be like if you didn't have BMX? Not even like say BFS, just riding in general,
riding in general?
having that outlet, you know?
Be definitely a lot more simple. I feel like this is like the gnarliest thing that I do in my life, obviously. So it's kind of opened up other, not opportunities, but like makes me think that I can like do other stuff that's kind of not so normal. Like I'd be willing to go skydiving or white water rafting, something like that. I don't know. Like it's not just like a normal thing. Like
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm just trying to get some of this stuff. I'm trying to post this on Instagram so people know we're up doing the thing. I'm doing two things at once. Sorry, everybody. We got two viewers right now, so thanks for watching. Yeah, sorry. All right, yeah. I mean, obviously, my life would be way different without the skate park because I run the skate park. This is my every single day.
right.
But this place, having an outlet like this has such an impact on so many people. Like most people don't even know what their lives would look like without this. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like so many kids, like, if they didn't have whatever it is, scooter, BMX, skateboarding, whatever it may be, if they didn't have it, like, I have no idea where they would be, right? They probably get caught up in the wrong crowd. They end up drinking, partying, or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, I could definitely say you could go down the wrong path. I feel like you could go down definitely like an easier path. Like I feel like it's just good to be able to be creative, but also have like the risk of like possibly hurting yourself. So you have to still be like conscious, and you can't just kind of like you can't just send shit like people say like, oh, just send it.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of have gotta have some kind of background, you know.
Well, one of the things I think that's wrong with I don't want to say that would be old. That's wrong with society. Like one of the things that's changed so much for kids now is that they don't face adversity, right? They don't have unstructured free play. They just like everything is taken care of for them. When you come here and skateboard or whatever it is, and even not just here, just in general, you have to assess risk.
Oh yeah.
This could go wrong. I could get hurt. Like you're going to get hurt. You're going to fall. You're going to get back up. I think the problem with a lot of youth now is that they never face any adversity. Their parents do everything for them. They lay it out for them. They don't have to deal with any stress in life until they're in their 20s and they get out of college, and all of a sudden they can't handle stress because they never had to deal with stress. And this riding is literally putting yourself in stressful situations because you have to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, or even just being in public. Like you go to a skate park, you're in public, you're around strangers. You know,
Yeah.
I could say that specifically for the skate park. It's taught me a lot how to like talk to people, or at least be like cool with being in different situations where maybe I don't know everybody. Or
one really common occurrence is people come, or they'll even call, and they're like, "Oh, when's when's like the most quiet time to come? Like they're so scared that they're gonna come in and someone's gonna laugh at you, and it's like no, like they don't get it. It was never like that here, and I don't know what worlds are like that where everyone thinks they're gonna get laughed at, but everyone remembers the first time they dropped in, the first time they rolled out, and everyone's been through that. So like yeah, it's cool if a good rider does another good trick, but when you see someone drop in for the first time, everyone is like, hell yeah! Like the whole skate park will be clapping, and it always like it bothers me that people are so apprehensive at first. Like, oh my god, people are gonna laugh at me, kills me.
Oh yeah.
That never happens. I will say like I'm big in the disc golf world, and that's also a very very welcoming community where like you could have someone who's amazing at playing and someone who's horrible, and they could coexist and it's fine. You can't say that about too many sports, and the skate park's crazy because it's like true diversity and true inclusivity because you have bikers, scooters, you have 8-year-olds, you have 70-year-olds. I mean, not 70, but like 50-year-olds. You have a full spectrum of individuals, of skill levels, of different types of riding, and everyone can coexist.
Yeah.
It's great.
Social class, whether you're wealthy or completely dead broke, it doesn't matter.
It really blurs all those lines.
That's interesting about being around the public like that and just being around so many different types of people.
What I think is so great about these sports is that everything I just said is true, yet no one cares. Like no one's coming here and they're not trying to brag about how diverse or inclusive these sports are. It is just the nature of these sports, and everyone gets along and everything's good, and no one has to be like, "Oh my God, look how inclusive we are." It's just like everyone like.
Well, it's like anywhere. You could say you're completely inclusive, but there's going to be cliques and there's going to be little like friend groups and whatnot. You know, you can't control that. That's always going to happen. But
the nice thing about here is I can control the culture more so. Skate parks and skate bike scenes, whatever, around the country are everywhere you go. It's a little bit different. Different companies are cool and different cliques are cool. And what you'll see is whoever tends to be the alpha group or individuals around a skate park can really have a strong influence on how the culture is around that skate park. If the older skate heads there are going like, "Yo, pick up your trash," then you have a really clean, nice skate park.
Yeah.
If everyone's throwing crap on the ground, no one cares, people aren't wearing helmets, they're just smoking weed, then you get like something that's a little bit haggard, a little more rough around the edges. Here, I can control that. If someone's being a dick, like that's the golden rule, I will just kick you the hell out. I don't need you to be here.
Yeah.
And when I see people who are being over the top, like basically giving out free lessons, I'll give those people free session cards. I'm like, that's the right, and you make sure everyone knows, I make sure everyone sees that I'm rewarding the types of behaviors I want to see, and I'm criticizing the ones, there's riders who are real showboaty, look at me, and I give them none of my attention because I don't care for that, and sometimes those people come around to it and they get it, like, oh, it's not about look at my cool trick, We actually got some stuff going on in the live chat here. It's pretty cool. We got 15 viewers. That's pretty exciting.
what are they saying?
Josh said, "I love riding bikes. Yes, this is so cool. Cool biking, cool tricks. Very good job. Wow. I miss Rasp. Breaking free is great. And the owner is so kind and sexy, and you're a sexy man."
There you go.
So thanks,
That's very
Josh.
true.
Oh, and then he said, "That's Harry." Says Yak. So
Yuck.
Yak Evangelo, scooter guy. His dad is a lawyer. He actually was a lawyer who helped me set up my LLC and get my business going. He also helped me buy my house. Good people right there.
That's one thing I do like about action sports so much. Like I just saw a video the other day about snowboarding. I think it's called like Your Turn. Or this guy, I don't know exactly who he is. Oh, he was the announcer for the X Games, I believe, for snowboarding.
Where?
And he's like going around and interviewing like specific riders and like just getting their story. And like this kid, I think he's either in Ukraine or Russia. I think he's Ukrainian. But like they had to get out of the country and they literally found someone like through snowboarding that like offered to like help them get to another country and like set their shit up. And I just think that's cool that like you can be in a community that's like so real about like real life stuff rather than just like doing tricks or whatever. Like these people are really down to earth for the most part.
Hold on, I'm just like looking. I've never done this before, and it's like telling me some settings I should change. The bit rate's too slow. Again, yeah, this is my first time doing this live thing. Oopsies. 68. It wants me to be at 6,800 kilobits per second. Whatever the frick that means. Let's see, output. Oh, we're at 2,500, so let's go up to 6,800 kilobits per second. Okay. Wonder if that changes anything. Yeah, stream refreshed. Dave, is that the GE hat? That is certainly is the GE hat. That's cool. Why don't you get someone else to come in for a bit? We could do this again. Like I'm planning to try to do this almost every single Wednesday and get people in and make it really casual, low key, and just do live streams. But I want to get more people talking about the 8 years thing. So I appreciate your first. You were the first one in our doing our 10 minutes.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I'm pumped. I'm super pumped. Yeah, it's a bit of an experiment here. I'm gonna shift this camera over a little bit too. Thank you to our concurrent viewers at the moment. This is hopefully this is going to be the new thing. I'm going to be trying to do this live chat. Cool. All righty. Well, Tanner's going to send someone in here. We're going to talk about some more BFS stuff. Who's the next guest? All right, here we go. Eat, sleep, Blaise, repeat. This is a great second guest here. This is Blaise.
Is this live?
We are live on YouTube.
We're live on YouTube.
Here's your microphone here.
Oh, jeez.
So, if I were first off, I'm going to say something. I want you to react to it in real time. We're turning frogs gay.
They are. It's the truth.
That's French cuisine. So this is Blaise. Blaise is probably my best friend. Blaise's father owned RASP, so that's a part of the whole story. Like, BFS goes back to RASP. RASP goes back to your uncle. We've actually had you on the podcast years ago to talk about it. But I'll start with you the same question that I gave Tanner. Like, what is this? Like, what does it mean to you? What does biking mean to you? What is the existence of having the action sport in your life? What does that mean to you?
Wow, that's a good one. It's who I am, man. I will always be a BMX rider. That's it. It's everything. It's all of us. It's the friendship. It's the skate park. It's the trips.
Get nice and close to the microphone.
Is it better now?
Probably.
Am I talking to this? Is anybody watching this?
We have 22 viewers right now.
Damn, 22 by 2024. Remember,
That's
that was
right.
the goal.
Yeah.
Dude, 22 fucking
I did another podcast called Wrench Life that Blaise was the co-host for a while. He moved to Chicago, came back.
I
Yeah.
left.
All right. What would your life be like without action sports?
I'd probably be a dumb normie.
Dumb normie. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, action sports is counterculture, and I think BMX being my counterculture is a really cool thing. I think anyone who doesn't find some sort of culture or counterculture is missing out. I feel very fortunate to have it, and I think once you have one passion, or whether it be counterculture or not, or anything, whatever it is, if you have one passion, it kind of can transcend into any other aspect of your life, and if you don't have that, it's kind of hard.
Now, from a geographic standpoint, would you consider, Rochester? It's part of the Rust Belt, but would that also make it part of the Midwest? Would you consider that part of the Midwest?
I would, because it's blessed me with great friends.
Okay.
And
Unforgettable
relationships.
relationships.
Yeah, I would consider this part of the Midwest.
All right, cool. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, this is good.
I was saying, Tanner, man, I feel like kids don't get to face adversity, and action sports is a domain in which you consciously put yourself in a stressful situation I have to calculate risk. I could fall. I could get hurt. Like, do you think that helps translate to you? Like, because if you guys don't know, Blaise is a chef at a fancy restaurant. So that means he's juggling a lot of stuff. Do you think you're better at your job because you've already put yourself in stressful situations?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's cooler, as you said, that action sports allows you to do it on your own accord. And I think it's worth noting that doesn't discount team sports. I think there is a place for that, and I think it's really helpful to have that rigidity and someone to push you.
Yeah.
And I think as a angry teenager, it's an easy outlet to go, like, I don't want to, fuck sports. I don't want to do any of that. I want to do BMX or skateboarding or scootering or whatever it is. And that's your thing. But I think all of that helps push you into doing things you didn't know you were capable of, whether
Yeah.
it's your choice or not. And I think that definitely helps when you want to push yourself off of a metaphorical cliff or a real cliff with a parachute, I hope.
One of our live chat people asked Blaise, "What do you think about quote the bear?"
It's a great show. I can't watch it. That's the show where they talk. That's like really famous like chef show. It's done super super well. Like it's actually so good that it gives me anxiety
Oh, that's pretty
because
good.
it's done so well, and like it's really really accurate to like
Yeah.
some of the situations I have. Like there's scenes where the main character has flashbacks to when he worked at like some crazy Michelin star restaurant, and the guy's like whispering in his ear, like, "You think you're cool? You think you're cool? You think you're cool? Your cool little tattoos and your burns and your scars. You think you're cool? You think you can do it?
Yes, chef.
What do you like? Yeah,
Yes, chef.
it's literally it's that. Yes, chef. Yes,
Yes,
chef.
chef.
And it's like, my life's annoying enough. I don't need to watch that. I tried. I hated it. I couldn't watch it. I tried to watch it again. I couldn't finish it. So it's a great show.
All right. Well, digressing from that, I do appreciate that you did you threw a bone out there to team sports.
Yeah.
Because team sports definitely teaches you things that you won't get in action sports, where that is that team effort. You have to rely on each other. You can't do it alone. You can't be a ball hog. There's a little more symbiosis there than action sports. So a little bit of both. I want to maybe you don't need just action sports.
Yeah.
But we'll keep talking about action sports because this is what we do here.
Yeah.
I said to Tanner earlier, most kids don't face adversity anymore at all, right? And a lot of times the first time they face any sort of adversity is when they get out of college, get their first job, or maybe they're off at college. And like their parents have done everything for them, and then they just melt.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like I knew this is what I wanted to give to people, what I wanted to give to kids, but I didn't like have the words yet. And as over these years have gone by, and I've read whatever it is, 120 books, like I have more understanding on what it is that I'm doing here. And I mean, every day it's like the best job in the world. You know, it's almost
Yeah.
like volunteer work.
I mean, it's incredible what you do here, and I'm going to come back to that. But I do think there's two things there where it's like, you know, parents want to do the best thing for their kid, and they think that is don't let anything bad happen to them. Obviously, that's your first reaction, but there's a certain amount of that adversity that is good for you. And so, like you said, you get all the way through your teenage years into your like early adulthood, and then you're faced with actual adversity, and it's terrifying. So, if you're able to implement that in your own life, and like, you know, interviewing for your first real job is a lot less scary if you've stood on top of a roll-in at
Yeah.
a skate park
Yeah, yeah.
and had 30 of your peers making fun of you until you rolled down on it and realized it wasn't so bad, and then they all cheered you on afterwards.
100%. Yeah.
Like that's so powerful. Like it's a lot. It's everything. This community, this like the accountability, like from your peers and yourself. Like action sports is the best, and skate parks are the catalyst for that.
Yeah.
Whether they're indoors or outdoors or whatever the fuck they are, it's the purest like Lord of the Flies reality. You know, like that's what skate
Well,
parks are. It's amazing.
I've taken this stance recently, and it's almost like a reactionary stance, but I go and I'm saying I'm pro-bullying, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not really
I'm pro-choice on that.
pro-bullying. Yeah, I'm pro-choice on bullying. And it's not that I'm pro-bullying, because I don't like bullying when you have an asshole bully who's being, malicious. But I am pro, like,
Holding people
teasing.
accountable.
And teasing might be very much like a male thing, where like you kind of mess with your dudes, right?
Yeah.
And when you get into BMX, there's these older guys or skateboarding, whatever it is, and they kind of give you a hard time, but underneath that there's a little bit of love, because they're like, yeah, you were there too, and I remember I need a little encouragement. So I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna roll in on that today? Come on, you're not gonna roll. Come
Yeah.
on, really? Everyone else, like,
You said you wanted to. Don't say
Right.
you're going to do it if you're not going to do it. You said you were going to do it.
Yeah.
You want to come to the park and you want to jump the box today. I don't see you jumping the box.
yeah, and later in life, like, you're gonna deal with people like that, in not in a scenario where there is that underlying, I do have love for you. You're gonna
Yeah,
have
yeah.
people you work with that are just assholes,
Yeah.
who are gonna be a dick, and they don't want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Versus that guy at the skate park who's 10 years older than you, and he's like kind of busting your balls about it, but he there's love for you.
Yep. Speaking of which, that picture of you airing the wall back there when Colin's
Colin?
hammering a beer down, I didn't know that picture existed. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was going through memory lane today, going through the old stuff, looking at the old pictures, and like it's probably the most social media post I posted in the day
Yeah.
ever. But there was some gold in there. And
I mean-
maybe someday when I'm rich and famous or dead, there's just so much content out there from all the vlogs and the
Yeah.
Instagram. Someone can make a sick documentary that 3 people will watch about an orange.
I mean, I just looked up and you were in what I can only assume was the old truck because there was a sunroof in it, and you were dressed up as a nun. And it just makes sense because like I don't think anyone. I was trying to think of a way to post it today to the 4 people that actually might understand it or not. I don't think people understand just how incredible what you've accomplished here and continue to accomplish is, because no one's frankly dumb enough to do this.
Yeah.
And I think you had a layup of sorts, a pretty sad and fucked up one. I think that's the story of this building and this place and this space is like putting other people's putting the money from other people you love into something that someone else loves or you love is kind of the theme of this. And
Well, I keep using that term about keeping the dream alive, because it's not just me, you know. It was Rasp, and then it was your uncle, and there's lumber and Rasp from Extremes that came from Extremes 1, and like there's so much history in this building, and Crank, so it pulls in there. It's crazy. There's just so much happening here.
my mini ramp's in here somewhere.
It is. You're being this year.
Like it's amazing, man. I love being able to tell people that like we couldn't do it, but Dave's got it. Dave's got it under
barely
control.
doing it.
Yeah, but it's still here.
Yeah.
We're in here
Yeah,
right
we're here,
now.
yeah.
We're in here right now, and that's
Trying.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like and I love that. I texted my dad today. I'm like, Dave. I said, Dave's celebrating 8 years today, and he goes, "Awesome!" All caps, clapping emoji. I think 8 years is a record for parks around here.
It is.
For
It is.
sure, it is, and that's
I am
noteworthy.
super proud of that, because Rochester has a storied history of indoor parks.
Yeah.
Well before I lived here, people knew about Extremes and stuff. And I got here and learned that, there was scuffs and spinners. There's been so many skate parks up here.
Scuffs, spinners, Extremes 1, Extremes 2, Rasp.
There was the Extremes Park in Charlotte.
I didn't even know that.
That was
one.
this
Oh,
guy
I remember
Gary,
that. Yeah.
And then Zippy talks about some other park opened in Henrietta very briefly that didn't last.
Huh.
It's just like, dude,
Everyone wants a skate park. No one wants to keep a skate park open.
I've lasted longer than Extremes 1 and 2 combined.
Wow.
So I'm like,
That's crazy
empirically
to
the
think.
best.
Yeah.
Although everyone from the past won't say I'm the best, because everyone romanticizes the park they grew up with.
Yep.
So like the Rasp kid thinks Rasp was the best skate
Yep.
park, and Extreme. Remember, so at Rasp, people were like, "Nah, dude, Extremes is so much better," And then when I opened, redesigned it, and it was like these ramps are closer together. It's totally different. There was a ton of kids that are like, "Dude, I'll ride here," but Rasp was the best,
Don't
And
worry.
I think of the same way
Yeah.
about the 2 shitty outdoor skate parks I rode when I was 15. I'm like, dude, Old Bridge Skate Park veterans, that mini ramp, that was the best mini ramp I've ever ridden. It's just how it goes.
Don't worry, dude. In 10 years, someone's going to be like, oh, man, I miss that mini ramp so bad. I know I hated it so much, and I told you should have put a stair set there, but I miss that mini ramp.
Totally.
Which,
dude.
honestly, warms my heart. Like, not that part, because that sucks. But, like, people have said exorbitantly more nice things about Rasp since it's closed than anyone ever dreamt of saying to my
Yes.
dad or I or
Yes.
Tony or anyone else who gave a shit about that place.
Dude, the vibes at Rasp were tough. Like the old guard, the pre-Rasp people were so harsh at Rasp.
Yeah.
It was tough, man. Skate
Yeah.
nights were so tough.
Yeah.
Dude. And it's so funny because there's so many people in the skate scene around here. You mentioned 30-year-old skateboarder guy named, "Oh, I love so and so. He's the best." I'm like, that guy was literally never nice to me. He was mean to me. He was a dick to me. Like it's crazy because these people. I don't want to go down a tangent of negativity, but they're just people that they're like positive and cool in the domain in which they want to be, and nothing else inside of that. And like we just weren't cool enough, and whatever. I'll digress. I don't want to go down that road. That's
No.
for another day. We'll just
We do got to get into it here because it doesn't count,
Yeah.
So we can say all this stuff.
Yeah. The new podcast studio is half grass and half foam pit, so nothing counts.
Yeah.
Say whatever you want.
That's it, dude.
My goal here is I want to do this. Might be a bit much. I want to do every Wednesday night, like, and just to jump in here. We're gonna stream for an hour or whatever, and just like let them fly, and just like the way we sit here and just talk about life and whatever's happening in the world and culture.
We gotta put a fridge
and,
in here for all the
Yeah,
sodas.
talk about things that are cancelable, whatever. We're just gonna just send the 9 here. Maybe that's the name of the podcast.
Send the 9.
when we go off the rails.
For those of you who don't, we're going to put an edit right here in the screen below. Which way? We're going to put a link to the description for the Eddie.
I'm not going to edit these. They're just going to go up live the way they are. All right.
Should I go get somebody else?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you one more question before you go, and then you got to get someone else to come in here.
All right.
It sounds like they're playing the podcast out there on the PA system of us talking right now on a delay.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So the question is going to be, is Austin Johns going to land it? Is he going to ever get the front flip whip?
He already
thing?
did.
Oh, yeah, right. He landed at Woodward.
He landed it.
All right. Question answered.
All right.
Hopefully I'll get you in again soon.
Yeah.
Like I said, this should be laid back. I'll literally talk about anything. Just like send it.
Should I go to a doctor for this?
No.
All right, sweet. Thanks.
Thank you. We got 29 viewers right now. That's awesome. 29? 29, yeah. This is going to be the new format, live, just shooting the stuff. Talk about whatever, a little more laid back. We're celebrating 8 years of BFS. We opened back in 2016. That was Blaise. Looks like we got Troy coming in here. Troy is a friend of mine, rollerblader, fellow father, cyclist aficionado.
Well, I mean, among many things.
Sorry. So I'm going to ask you what I've asked everyone else. What is this to you? Like the existence of having the action sport in your life?
Oh yeah.
Like, what is it to you?
Well, is it the action sport or like breaking free itself? You know, I mean, there's so many levels.
I'm
of
making
this.
this broader. So I'm saying the action sport, like your life without rollerblading.
The physical outlet is super important for me, and I've kind of learned that over time, and that's something I can kind of do anywhere, anytime, which is great. You know, I've even like found where it's just like, look, I can just go for a run. It's almost the same thing as like being able to like come here and skate, but the community here is a whole separate thing. You know, like that is what breaking free is the people here, and in the park, and everyone connected to it. You know, that's a different thing altogether. But I can do everything like by myself in terms of like health and that kind of thing. Like it's super important for me to keep going and have that kind of like healthy outlet. But there's nothing in place of community, and that's what you have here. It's like it's been 8 years.
Yeah, right.
It's like I mean, I
Because
remember when you started.
if every time you rode, whether it be bike, scooter, skateboard, if you were just alone, honestly, very few people would still do it.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but I like as you well know, I'm kind of like a weirdo like that. Like I like to kind of just hang out by myself and just do the thing by myself. Like I actually prefer to skate by myself. That's kind of like I guess one of like the weird things about me is like I prefer to put headphones in and skate by myself.
Yeah.
But I've met a few other people like that. They like to skate by themselves, but they still like the community there, either while they're skating, but also like afterwards and before and after, and just like having that community one way or another.
I do like a little bit of both, and like it's undeniable that for BMX it's way more social. Because for cycling in general, I love mountain biking alone more than anything else. I like being out with my mind and thinking when I'm just off pedaling. But like if I'm riding, if I'm doing tricks, like I want to feel the session. I want to feel see his trick. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I can kind of like feel like the vibe is totally different. It's like I have very little interest in riding BMX alone. Like it's almost entirely social for me at this point.
Interesting. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's the case for most people. Honestly, like it's very much a social thing, and I enjoy that element of it for sure. I like having people around. But at the same time, the skating for me is better when I'm just like skating without the, I guess the kind of verbal side of things like that. And I've known a few people like that. But why do we come back here? It's just like it's a great thing to have community at any age. And it's one of those things that never goes bad. It's like it's really good. And,
The community is just such a huge thing. And I'm totally aware that that's one of the things I'm offering. Like I am so painfully aware of the impact that this place and that I through this place has on these people. Like forever, these kids will remember the skate park when they were, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
100%,
13.
yeah.
Like, oh my God, that was the sickest place. They might
Oh,
not
yeah.
always remember me. They might not stop and think about like the energy and the workload. They'll just be like, dude, that place, the New Year's Eve lock-in. Oh my God.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I did that mini ramp skateboard contest recently, and events are never well attended. It's just the nature of the beast. But you do the event, 9 people come, so and so wins, and they get the prize, and they're like, "Holy, I won a skateboard contest." That kid
100%.
will remember that forever.
Oh, yeah.
For the cost of my time and energy to put out the flyer and promote the event, and get some judges and do the whole thing. Like that memory is priceless. And you have a daughter now. You get it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like those little things. Like I understand that. So like those moments.
Yeah, and honestly, because I remember very well, and I don't know how many people that are here tonight remember. I mean, Blaise certainly, but like I remember 8 years ago. I remember when you started this place and you bought it. You basically bought it from like piece parts, basically.
Yeah.
Pennies on the dollar. We're still a shitload of money as far as I was concerned. And I remember you telling me I'm gonna rip this whole fucking thing down and build something else. And I'm just like, you're crazy. You're going to buy this thing, which is like, it can make money just the way it is, and you're going to tear it down and build something else. I'm just like, you're insane. Like, why'd you do this? Because in my mind, I'm like, I've seen a lot of people like take on projects that they don't realize how big it is and not go all the way back together again. And that's what I thought it was. And it only took you, a couple months?
Yeah,
We started
3
in
months,
October or something?
With just volunteer.
Yeah.
When I did that,
And there's so many people involved, not just you, obviously, but still, it was amazing to see it.
I was so like focused on the goal, I didn't even like think about like it being crazy, right? And people were saying to me like, no, like this. I could tell from the tone and the way they were talking, like they thought this idea was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, no,
I said
whatever.
that for sure.
And it was years later, probably 3 years in, 4 years in, where I sat back and I like looked at it and I was like,
Made
oh,
all this shit happen.
I understand why these people thought I was fucking crazy.
hard
Because
work.
like
All of it.
that was crazy.
There's so many things that has to happen right to make it work, and you made all that shit happen, and you did. To your credit, like I don't mean to like discredit you at all. To your credit, you knew how to like do a lot of shit. You know how to do business shit. You know how to run books. You know how to do all this stuff, and I didn't know
have
that.
to.
I still don't know. Yeah, still, and it's very it's not trivial like to have, and it's actually a very rare cross section of human that has like, okay, I want this thing. I want to like be the community. I have the BMX background. I want to create a nice skate park, but also I'm able to do the business side of it. I'm like able to take the risk involved, and you happen to have some cash involved.
Well, I wouldn't have been able to do anything if it wasn't for Jaden's dad. Jaden's dad, he owns a company called EEP Quality Group, and they do consulting, third-party quality control, remanufacturing and packaging, a whole bunch of different stuff. And he is like a genius. His mind works in a very logistic business sense. So I went to him and I was like, Jeff, what do I do? And he's like, do this, and let me know. And I went home and I did all of it. And I called him like a day later. I'm like, I did it. And he's like, you did it? I was like, I did it. Now what? He goes, okay, well, now that you did this, you need to do this, this, and this. And that's the way we'll be able to kind of see. So do that and let me know. Next day, I did it. You did it already? Yes, I did it. Now what? Well, come to my house Sunday and bring me all the numbers you put together, and we'll look at these numbers and we'll kind of like whatever. And like he helped me put together my business plan. He was there for the meetings with Buckingham. Like my probably 25% of the way I think, the mechanically logistic ABC thing, came from Jeff. And had he not been there, had Jaden and Jeff not been here, this would have never happened. Or it would have happened and I would have failed because I wouldn't have had the organization and the business understanding. Like you can ask my wife. I outline everything I do. Like if my wife and I have a fight, I will take a step back and I will like brainstorm and I will outline and then I will put together a note and it'll be like in order of a sequential. And it's like I had this very mechanical.
Sorry,
like,
Dara.
This is
It's
how
horrible.
this is how you address a problem, and we're not going to leave till we resolve the problem. And
Yeah. No, I get it.
I'm not like a robot, but like it's
Well,
so
it helps.
it's so effective.
Yeah, sure,
You know?
sure. Yeah. Well, it takes an army. It takes a village.
Yeah.
Like 8 years of a skate park, which could fall apart at any moment, doesn't happen on its own. It
Might not
certainly
make it out of this winter.
right. I know. Yeah, but it's your effort this is the primary thing that kept it together. But also, yeah, I mean, it's fun to hear this other stuff that I didn't know was part of it. And because from my perspective, I'm like, how the fuck did this kid keep this shit together?
Oh, dude, it was
Because I remember thinking, like, there's no fucking way. There's no way this is coming together. And it all came together, and it continued to run, and it's 8 years later, and it's still running.
and it's better and better
yeah.
and better. Like, the business is doing worse and worse and worse for, like, it's not my fault, but
Yeah,
the
it's hard.
business
It's really
is,
hard, yeah.
the fact that historically I was doing about $250,000 in sales, right? And now I'm doing less than 200,000, right? So I had like over a 20% decrease, but a 25% decrease in overall traffic and sales.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm still open is crazy. If you said to a restaurant and said, hey,
Oh,
if
yeah.
next month you lose 25% of all of your sales,
Oh, yeah.
it's over.
I know. I have no idea how you keep it together. It's still, even to this
Well,
day.
because they don't get paid.
Right. So I think one thing to point out here is that there are very few entrepreneurs who are willing to risk, what they have to risk to keep something like this together. Like, when it comes to the total amount of risk, the total amount of the total amount of liability involved in something like that, like you said, basically to break even, what is it, like a couple $100,000, basically to break even.
My lease is 110.
Yeah. So $100,000, that's what you have to spend to break even to not go underwater. That's just to not go underwater. Never mind like paying
There's
anything.
a psychological change
Plus
that
the
happens.
insurance and everything else. I mean, there's so many things.
There's a psychological change that happens in your brain, in your relationship to money, when you have to spend $9,600 every single month. Oh yeah. Money becomes so weird and abstract. You're like, oh, whatever. It's just money. Like, it's just a number, right?
Oh, yeah.
I remember before the business, I was like, dude, $20 is a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Not like that anymore.
I'm still that way, honestly. Like, I'm still that way where it's just like when to take that kind of risk to me is like, oh my God, that would be so much stress for me. Like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be like, oh fuck, how am I gonna make $10,000 every month just to pay the bills?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I appreciate that. I just want to point that out. It's not easy. Like,
No.
I think a lot of people don't realize how hard it is. All small business is hard, but certainly any kind of labor of love, like a skate park, is even harder.
I want to tell you, you said something to me once that has really stuck with me, like forever, actually. And you might not even remember saying this, but it was a really simple, like, one line that really personified this factor, issue, thing, whatever it is. Because you said entrepreneur. A lot of people that are entrepreneurs seem to really not like that word. Entrepreneur, it's like, feels weird. But you said to me one time, all an entrepreneur is someone that says, fuck it, I could do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's me.
Right.
Like, no matter what it is, I go, fuck it, I could do that.
It's true. And like you said, like when Jaden's dad told you, hey, here's your step. Like you had somebody involved that luckily was involved, that was able to give you a path forward.
Yeah.
And it's not trivial to do that. But you had somebody to do that. But in your in your defense and in your to praise, what you were able to do is like you also did what the hell he had in mind. Like, it's just so few people will execute on. Execution is everything.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Like, I remember like a lot of like a common like boomer thing is like, okay, oh, you have a business if you have like a
Etsy store or something.
well, I was gonna say like if you have a patent, like it's all about like, oh, if you have IP, if you have a patent, if you have some like cachet, whatever the hell it is. I don't think it really works that way anymore. It's like for the most part, it's like you just have to hustle and like make things work from a day to day, especially in like a business like this. There's no IP, obviously, but it's a pet peeve of mine. It's like, oh, it's IP. No, it's like the job that you do illustrates what a proper, kind of entrepreneur or just business person. Okay, I don't know. Entrepreneur is totally a loaded term. It sounds kind of like I don't know. It's kind of a loaded term, but it's like, but a business person. It's just even a small business. It's hard work. Every single but smart. Like you go to like any restaurant, like that person has to hustle to make that thing work every time, and it's not in the same way that any kind of person that has a 9-to-5 job where they have a salary, and it's like it's a fixed salary. That if they show up and they don't get fired, they get paid that amount. And it's like it is so different than just trying to hustle to make your own thing every month. So
I will say,
what's up, Nate?
God, that's not how the door works.
you just break the door out.
Oh God, I lost my train of thought now.
Well, here, Dave, you look thirsty.
Oh, thanks, Nate.
Have a beer.
I'm not even done with my beer. Well, this is a bad start to the podcast. It's bad out.
Start. It's been
How
like.
long is the start?
I was gonna say the start's like 3
Well,
hours.
I'm
What the hell are you
trying to
talking
be really
about?
PC here.
I'm streaming it out there. I'm right here.
Oh man, it made me lose my train
some
of thought here.
DJing
What was I gonna
tonight.
say?
What kind of train is that?
SD70.
Yeah, it's a heritage unit for sure. Yeah, I know that for sure. If there's anything I know about that.
Is it a steam locomotive?
No.
I like
Mag train?
people don't
Diesel.
realize
Diesel
like
fired
oh,
for
okay,
sure.
All right, I
mean,
remember my train
that
of thought
much I
now.
know. That much I
I
know.
remember the train of thought. I have friends who think they're on the same level as me, and that's I'm not saying I'm not being cocky. Like I'm on like some high level. I run this business, right? I have friends who are like I'm a small business owner too, and I'm like, bro, you don't have a lease. You don't have 6 different insurances. You don't have a sign on a door somewhere that says I'm open. I have to be there, right? These are people like it's
Huge
like oh,
commitment.
I'm a freelance engineer.
Seriously.
Oh, I'm an artist. Oh, I'm a whatever. Insert thing.
None of
And it's
those.
like,
None of like. By the way, none of those things are easy either.
True.
Just to point that out. Like all that shit's very hard if you're on your own. But yeah, true. The more shit you have to pay every month
Yes.
on your own, no matter what.
yeah, definitely not trying to talk shit or take away from people that do that. But I'm saying, like when you say we're on the same level of liability, like no, dude, like
Yeah.
you don't have a lease. Like there's a sign on a door and a website and a Google listing that says at 4:00 I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And once in a while, people are like, Dave, what happens if you get sick? And I'm like, well, I come to the skate park and open it. What if you're like really sick? I come to the skate park and open it. Well, what if you
happens if you get stuck
what
in
if you
Canada's
what if you
lake?
get hurt? Like there's been 3 times ever I was late to like it's like no, like I'm here. I'm committed. I don't have
Oh, yeah.
employees. Like I'm doing the thing.
I know. Yeah.
Times was my fault.
One time, yeah,
My car died.
Oh yeah.
I was late recently. when I was
I've
building
always been
the Ninja
impressed.
Warrior wall.
It's hard.
That
Yeah.
my car died. And
No. Well.
Dave
Well. I mean that you were the crux of the problem. No.
impressive.
You gonna sit down? You want to?
He
down
wants
here
to
and
tag
take
Nate
over?
in.
Oh wait, Nate's gonna take over. I'm gonna hang up.
I don't know what I'm gonna say.
All right, we're bringing in Nathan Explosion. This is my dad, everyone's dad.
Hello.
Just try to talk into the microphone.
Hello, children of
Um,
the world. Of rock.
This is another Nate. How long have you rode BMX?
Oh God. 30 some odd years.
Well, I'm 30 some odd years old. I'm gonna be 38 soon.
That only happens once.
What?
You only get one 38th
Yeah, it
birthday.
is- It's true. So you have rode for a really long time. You have seen people come and go and move away. Companies go. Skate parks come and go. Like what? What do you think your life would be like if you didn't ride BMX?
Oh, jeez. I'd probably drink a lot more beer.
That's
I can only imagine how not fun I would be if it weren't for
yeah.
BMX.
And you're living that bike life. You're like you ride the bike, you live the bike, a lot of mileage. We were going ham on mileage a couple of years back. Just
I mean, I just made sure I hit 2,000 miles for the year yesterday.
oh, I'm only at like maybe 1,300. I did not get my. I had a daughter this year. You know, your
I mean-
granddaughter actually.
Congratulations.
Oh man, how many? Obviously, you've been here. You've been to RASP. You've been to Extremes. You've been to the other Extremes.
I went to Spinners.
You've been to Spinners. Yeah. Did you go to the Extremes Park in Charlotte?
No, that
Never
was
went there.
that was when I was in college and wasn't
Okay.
in Rochester itself as much.
You could be honest. Of all the years and all the parks in Rochester, like which one was best?
Well, Breaking Free.
Oh, not the Hungerford warehouse ramps. Those look sick.
Oh, well, that was its own special
Mhm.
entity. That's a shame what happened to all that, but
What a thing, dude. 8 years.
yeah.
You're one of few people I knew when I moved here. Right? Did I meet you as soon as I lived here? No.
No,
Did I
well,
know
we-
you beforehand? Or I met
Yeah,
you right
when
away?
I met you at Sayreville.
Yes.
After, like a week or two after you were here with Joe, and we're in the car while Joe came in to sell burrito, while your now wife probably did just serve me a burrito.
Yeah. Don't talk about my wife like that. Yeah, so like I moved.
It was a good burrito.
So I moved here. at this point, was it 12 years ago, to work at RASP actually, and like I had my little tiny apartment, and like I didn't really know much, and then just going out riding Chase Bank, riding blue poles, and we're like end up
Then
going.
we found your chair and couch on the side of the road, and
Yeah.
you're like, "That's mine. I'm coming to get
And
that."
I barely knew you when I moved here, but you're one of the few people I knew, and then you turned out being one of my best friends. And through all the turmoil and this and that, and then RASP and then BFS and this and that, and you're still here. We're still great friends.
Yeah,
That's great.
I love how it works out.
Yeah.
Love when a
There's
plan
there's
comes
people
together.
who I've been close with and they drift away, and like one thing I learned is it's a great topic since we're in here 8 years of BFS. When I started BFS, it really showed me who was my friend. Because there were people who I thought were my friends, and they did not care. They did not help, right?
Yeah.
There was people who I never met before who just showed up to help out of nowhere, and then we ended up becoming amazing friends. And some of those people who I thought were my friends, who never came to help, once I opened, were like, wait, do I have to pay to ride? I'm like, I thought we're friends. I'm like, bro, you didn't help. Everyone that helped, there's so many people. Like Tarabasi and Raphael and Aaron and Kevin. There were so many people that came and helped. And each one of those people I sat down with, I'm like, you gave me this much help. You're free for a year. You're free for the next 6 months. You're free. Like every single person, I was like, I mean, you've been free until you decided to get on Patreon,
Yeah, I was
like
I didn't want to make myself feel as though I was taking advantage of you anymore.
it's all good. It's
But
like,
hell, I went and bought a whole drill set thing
yeah,
to build this place.
try to stay close to the mic so it stays good.
Sorry,
Yeah, it's all good.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
This is a Verizon commercial.
Dude, that was crazy. I remember, like, and I don't want to mention any names. I lived with someone, and I still really like this person, but like, man, they didn't show up, they didn't do anything, and it was just like, that's fine, you're fine.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's
They call them fair weather friends. But BFS has all of my best friends. I've met so many amazing people through Breaking Free, like Nick Parlett. That dude's awesome. He'll probably never listen to this, or if he does, he's not going to make it this far into this. Nick Parlett is awesome. He used to bring his son on the Strider bike, Blake. His kid is awesome. His wife is awesome. I love them. There's been so many people. Tubbs. There's so many people I've met here that are just great people. And I look forward to the days when they show up. Oh, he's so-and-so's here. After he rides, we get to talk for 15 minutes about life.
yeah. Life is it's a good
I
thing.
love life.
Yeah.
Life's sick. This is the format I'm going to try to do here. I'm thinking Wednesdays, because it's bike night or whatever. I plan on staying late. And just every Wednesday, we're going to get in here. We're going to go on YouTube Live, and we're just going to, like, talk. And I'll just get different guests, different days, talk. Like, super loose format. Just get out a steady stream of content for people to engage with. One day, we'll definitely get you back on. Talk about when we rode bikes to Washington, D.C. Or, like, we've done so many crazy things.
We still got to ride to Sasquatch's house
You're going to ride to Sasquatch's house.
and not tell him.
Rode to Sodus, this camp at the Girl Scout camp. We've done so much sick stuff.
Remember the second time we did that?
John was with us the second time?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then John disappeared at
Yeah,
6:30 in the
that's so
morning.
good.
Because he, at first, was afraid he had to leave early because he had class in the morning, and then class got canceled. And then he still left at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning.
Like, I absolutely love my life. I don't mind working the many hours I put in here. It's just like, it would be a little nice if I had a little more free time. And in the past, when the skate park was doing well, in the summertime, I kind of kicked back and chilled. It was
Yeah.
great, especially when I had Clark and Terrell back in the day, and they wanted hours, so they would work the counter, and I could take a Sunday off, and we could do stuff. Now the skate park's just dying. I'm fucking drying out on the vine. I can't afford to have employees. I have to run the bike shop to make more money. I do the bike share job on the side. Like, my summers I'm as busy as my winters, so like, it's killing me because I want to go out and do fun stuff, and then you stack that with having a kid, and the kid's amazing.
You still got to keep busy, otherwise
Yeah.
you'll go crazy. And
It's crazy, dude. Life's a crazy ride. Life is a
Right.
highway,
I remember when I didn't have a job for a year, and I got bored out of my mind. And I would still ride my bike every day, but I
Yeah.
would just do the same routes every day, and I'm like, all right, this is boring.
This is pretty good. We've been going for a while. We're sticking around 35 to 40 live viewers this whole time.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty good, and we're like an hour in here. This is pretty awesome.
Huh.
Well, it says we have 7 concurrent viewers at the moment. So I guess there's been 37 total viewers. So
Oh,
I guess
well,
I'm wrong. But
7 people are watching us right now.
P Kyle's in the chat, so that's sick. Shout out to P Kyle.
Hi, P. Kyle.
Yeah. So I mean, thanks for giving me a couple minutes. Go yell at someone else and tell them to come in here to talk about BFS.
Oh, like that guy from Kyle from Infamous has a mustache.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And we'll get you on again sometime to talk about. Like, I would love to get in here for 2 hours. Maybe if Rich was here, we could
Oh,
just
God.
talk about our, because Nate and I, we rode bikes from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. It was crazy.
I feel great. I feel fine.
Yeah. So maybe another time. So P. Kyle says, hey, Nate.
Hey. All right, I'm gonna go get
Yeah, bring in Kyle.
Kyle M. Can
Yeah.
you hear? Kyle Mathews, get out here.
Bring him in. Thank you for our 8 concurrent viewers at the moment. We're live streaming here. We're going to hopefully do this every Wednesday night, see if we can get a thing going. We're going to talk about bikes, talk about skateboards, talk about scooters, talk about life, talk about culture, talk about freaking everything, man. I'm just trying to, like, get some stuff going. Right now, we've had a couple guests. We're going to get more guests in. We're just talking about BFS, what biking, or scootering, skateboarding, what that means to you, what your life would be without it. We got Kyle coming in now. Kyle is a recurring guest. Kyle's been on the podcast before. So here we go.
Have arrived.
Kyle has arrived. So just make sure your face is kind of close to that microphone. This is Kyle from Infamous. I'm going to start here with the same question that I've asked everyone. And like, so you ride BMX?
I do.
What is that? What is that to you? What is it?
To me specifically,
Yeah.
I think biking overall, not just BMX, but biking overall, it's been an escape from a lot of stuff. I didn't bike as much as I used to. I bike way more now than I ever did, and it's become very therapeutic. Going out, even just in the city, riding BMX. I lived on one side of the city for a while. The skate park was on the other side. I would just ride my 20 to the skate park, see stuff at night, leave work, go ride my bike. And it was therapeutic. You get to sightsee, you get to see different things throughout the day that you wouldn't normally see driving in a car. It's exercise, keeps you healthy, keeps you motivated. And BMX in specific, and I think you and I have discussed this repeatedly, it's one of those sports where your only competition is yourself. And you have you to compete against. You have you to try and one up every single time.
Yeah.
So when it comes to learning new tricks or, getting this line down or whatever it may be, there's no one in your way except your own physical ability. Whatever you're willing to push yourself to is the limit that you can, try and get to. And I think that's the coolest part about it, is it's not like football where you got, a bunch of other guys up against you, or soccer or baseball where you're in direct competition. It's you. That's it. And it gives you something to work towards. And that's been a motivator for me for many, many years. And I think that's instilled a good set of values in me for when it comes to what it means to work hard towards something.
Yeah. I would say, Okay. I was going to say something I totally forgot because I'm trying to manage the text in the group chat,
Yeah.
listen to you and
Yeah.
talk to you. Man. Dude, I totally derailed my thought there. It's a thought I never thought I thought. All right, cool. Biking's cool.
That's cool.
What do you think your life would be like if you didn't have bikes in it?
Very different. I think in general, I wouldn't be as close with you, which I think leads into an entire topic of conversation of how much you've done for me as an individual and how much the skate park has done for me.
We are pretty close.
I'd like to think so. I think you're one of my best friends, and you've, allowed me to be a part of your life and your family's life, and I'm forever grateful for that. But no, I think my life would be pretty different. Yeah,
Yeah, 35 inches.
35 inches.
That is pretty
That's
close.
not 6 feet though.
We are pretty close.
Yeah. But no, my life would be very different. I picked up a lot of biking. I built my Fairdale coming out of a relationship, and I built
with
that
a
bike
girl?
out- with a girl.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Just checking,
Yeah.
okay.
So I got out of a relationship and I built up my Fairdale because I wanted something to do over that winter. So I built my bike, and I proceeded to debut it. The first ride I got in with that bike was our Century
Yeah.
for that year.
Century is 100 miles for those that don't know.
Yeah. So that was the year that we did. I think that was the year we did Letchworth, or no, it was the year before that.
Okay.
And that was awesome. I've put so many miles on that bike, and so many miles of that was just therapy, just leaving work,
Yes.
going for a ride. And that was very peaceful mentally to like
Yeah.
think things through, to just go out, be outside, not cooped up in the house playing video games or doom scrolling through Instagram. It was getting outside, riding here, or even if it was just like riding to a bar. It was better than being at home in my own thought. And I think biking has changed my life significantly for the positive. I would be in a very deep, dark place if it wasn't for bikes. And it sounds corny, but
No.
that's
I mean, I'll tell you, like, I used to be severely unhappy. I used to want to die,
Yeah.
right? And that's not hyperbolic. That was life. And I started the skate park, and in like that gave me a lot of purpose and drive and a goal to aim for. But even after it was done, I really still wasn't happy. And like I remember being like, why this isn't enough, you know? And I don't know if I told you, like I have a. If I told you, I have a whole album of music online. Ever tell you that?
I think we've
Yeah.
brought it up before.
Do you want to
somewhere.
come on? Another time? Okay. And in that album I wrote, there's a song about that where it's like I've grown to be kind of successful, and I've had, I think, what did I say? I have the line in the song. It's like God, I can't remember. It's something about how I've grown to have a complex understanding of situations in a manner that helps me understand the world and be successful. But is it sustainable? Like, is this another distraction, or is this going to make me happy? You know, and I really wasn't. Like, even like I had the skate park. I had turned 30. I was like, dude, I should be happy. And I had a song I wrote on my 30th birthday about, and literally the line in the song is like, I should be happy, but I'm not. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it was bike riding where I figured that all out. Where I was just going out. I started listening to podcasts and audiobooks, and I'm just doing miles and miles, like 200 miles a week, riding and like just learning about like psychology and different frameworks of psychology, and like thinking through my own bullshit and thinking about like if you've been through something, and when you think about it, it elicits an emotional response. It means you probably haven't thought through it and extracted the knowledge you need, right?
Right.
So I learned that, and so I started like be on these bike rides, getting into a meditative space, and like thinking about these things that just like fester and bother me. And I remember having these moments, just riding my bike and being like, "Holy shit,
Yeah.
that's
the
why."
answer.
It boils down to this really simple thing. My issue here, and here is really the same thing.
Yeah.
And like my life totally changed over like those 2 years where I was riding like 4,000 miles a year, just learning and reading and thinking and meditating and practicing mindfulness, and like my life totally changed. Like I'm not even the same person. I'll listen to the album I wrote and all those songs I wrote, and I'm like, it's like I could like empathize with it. Like that's not me. I'm not even that person anymore. It's almost like a third party situation. Like I almost like romanticize being that sad and depressed and lonely.
Yeah. That's something I can agree to. And I don't think I'd tell anyone that, or if I bring it up, it's very few and far between, but biking did exactly that for me. It was going out in the woods and, riding trails or riding gravel or just riding BMX and just, sitting at the park, whether it was here or Rock City or wherever, and just kind of not doing anything, not being distracted by anything, but just having that moment of thought of just, all right, the only thing that my body needs to do right now is move my legs in this cadence. Other than
There's
that,
totally something about that, your body being occupied, that like it takes up 10, 20, 30% of your brain. and it allows you to have that other 60% to meditate on something, to where like you're trying to think about something, and then the other 20% is like.
Right.
Or like thinking about some other bullshit or like some pair of tits you saw or something.
Yeah, something.
Like if there's something about, and skateboarding does this for a lot of people where like they're in the zone and they're flowing. It's there's definitely parallels.
I agree. I think that's what got me where I was, and I'll say this much too was I have you to thank for a lot of it, because there's plenty of times that I've been at home doing absolutely nothing, and sitting at home drinking beer or sitting at home playing video games, whatever, and you'll text me, "Yo, Trails," or like, "Yo, what's up?" Like,
Don't be a bitch.
dude, I remember very specifically. I remember one time, it was one of my favorite stories to tell. Was I went on a date with a girl, and I was up like all night, and she'd gone home, but I went home. I was up all night just thinking about things and whatever, and I went to bed at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had forgotten that we were supposed to do dirt church the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
And you had texted me, and you were like, "Yo, you up?" Or like, "Yo, let's go ride." And I didn't answer within like 10 minutes, and you text me back, you're like, "Don't be a bitch." And I woke up, and I was so exhausted. I hadn't eaten, I hadn't slept, I was destroyed. And I read that text of "Don't be a bitch." I'm like, oh, he's got a point. I can't be a bitch. And I got out of bed on like an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of sleep, because we would start dirt church at like 6:30 in the morning. I had a cup of coffee and a piece of toast, and you picked me up in the Focus, and we went and met up at top of Seneca Loop with
Road 10.
with Ted. And dude, that was the day that we did like a mega loop. We did like 30 something miles that morning for no good reason.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I did it with no sleep. You know who else was there? Actually, was Phil. Phil was there.
Oh, Phil was here earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Phil was on that ride with us.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy, that guy.
But again, stuff like that was you've propelled me through conversations like this. Just the amount of times that I've showed up to the park in the dead of summer, no one's here. It's like 4 p.m. And I'm like, dude, let's go ride bikes. And just the conversations that come with it, the conversations about music, about bikes, about life, about family. Now that you can relate to so much more of it, having a daughter now, it's incredible to hear your philosophies on this stuff, because those philosophies didn't really exist or hold too much weight prior to
Well, everything,
prior to
every
March.
So when I started my business, I talked about this earlier with Troy. Jaden's dad, Jeff, was like instrumental. This would have never happened if he wasn't there, and he taught me so many things that are just absolutely priceless. Like, I love that guy. I wouldn't be here without him. But he told me this one thing, and he's like, when you start a business, it's like jumping off a cliff, and you'll meet people who are like managers, and they'll try to talk to you like they're like you. It's like they're not like you. They never jumped off the cliff. When you're just managing someone else's business, you didn't have the skin in the game. It doesn't matter. But when you meet other people who are actually the entrepreneurs, who actually did it, who put their ass on the line, everything, they emptied their bank account and did it, there's a bond you will have with those people that you will not have with anyone else, right? Because you jumped off the cliff. And in my mind, I'm like, I didn't just jump off the cliff. I sprinted full speed, swan dove, teeth first, like, let's go, right? And the parenting is pretty similar. There's parallels, but man, especially a high risk, like, I emptied everything, basically every penny I owned, and just went for it. Like, not a lot of people can say they did that.
No.
And like, when you meet someone who has done that, like, you can be like, oh, I did it. Like, it was like everything or bust. You know, it was like, I can't afford my apartment if this doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, oh man.
There's a lot of life lessons you've taught me along those lines. There's so many decisions that, like, I won't even bring you the exact, scenarios. But like, yo, like, hypothetically, what would you do in this situation? You'll tell me something philosophical, or you'll break it down to the most logistical way of thinking about something, and I'll go, I didn't think about it that way, even remotely. Okay, and boom, done. That's the answer for me.
That's what Jeff did for me. I was telling Troy earlier, like, if it's very rare, my wife and I get into a fight. We literally don't fight. I would say we've never been in a fight. I would say twice a year we have a disagreement. And when we have a disagreement, I will brainstorm, I will sit down, I will outline, I will order rank, and then I write her a note based on the outlining and the order rank, and it's super. That all sounds really dry and bland, but I end up writing this note that's very simple, very concise. I think about how I'm going to approach it, what things I want to lead with, how she's going to think about those things, and I've taken this mechanical business approach to how I communicate generally, and it's extraordinarily effective. And I do back off a bit because, like, I understand to some degree. It's a sliding door.
It's a slide. Yeah.
To some degree, you have to play out the drama.
I'm leaving.
Goodbye.
I love you guys.
Love you too.
I left you Yank.
Bye, Dad.
Thank you.
Thanks for the moose.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, we had moose.
We did have. It
We
was
did have
really
moose.
good.
You know how old that moose was?
When it died,
40, 50 years old, I think.
69.
It's at least 2 years old.
It's like
Alright.
been in your fridge for that long?
Yes.
It wasn't as gamey as I expected it to be. It's pretty good.
I did season it with some
It was pretty good.
Montreal seasoning.
Why not Alaskan seasoning?
Have you ever heard of Alaska?
Is it just salt?
Okay. What was I talking about?
You and Dara very rarely getting into.
Oh yeah. Okay. So to some degree, when we do get into a fight, I do actually almost let myself get a little angry on purpose because you have to play out the drama of the up and down or
Right.
whatever. But anyway, digress from that. If you just look at life from like a logistical standpoint, and you have to like balance this. There's that. I always talk about like with life. It's like there's money in, there's money out. You control both. You have far more control over money out than you do than money in. So control the fuck out of it, right? We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Man, life is hard, and one of the reasons why I do this at the skate park is because it teaches kids about life, the balancing risk and reward, and the putting yourself intentionally in a stressful situation so you could manage it. Like, God, there's no way to quantify the people's lives I've impacted, and like they don't even know. Like that, the kid who's now 25, who rode here with his kid, he does not understand that coming here and scootering and at the top of that ramp, like
Right.
drop in, like those things translate so far and beyond. When I was younger, I was like, oh, it's like it's good for your mental health because when I was a kid and my life sucked and I lived in a fucking trap house, I knew if I went out and rode bikes, I felt better.
Yeah.
And that was literally it. And as I've read more books and learned more, I actually have more of an understanding around what that actually means. And my job is more rewarding now than it even was 8 years ago when I started.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I have it in me to put in the workload I did when I started 8 years ago, because that shit was crazy. I worked myself to the goddamn bone. But also, I was way less healthy then. Now I'm probably the healthiest I've ever been, so I probably could do that workload, and I would prioritize things better. I wouldn't be like drinking nonstop. Like, we built this place on Mark's Pizza and Genesee.
Jenny's, yeah.
That was it. That's a terrible way to
Dude,
live.
I always we brought it up a couple times. All the Jenny cans at the end of
Dude, they're everywhere.
at the end of the build, there was just bags and bags of Jenny cans.
Oh my God. Well, this is definitely the longest podcast I've ever done.
Oh, good reason for it. 8 years, man.
Yeah, and this is the new format. We're going to try to I'm going to try to get in here, hopefully every Wednesday, maybe every other Wednesday, and just talk about whatever. Talk about life. Talk about, like, this is a little taste of each thing. Let these conversations flow. Like, because I think we talk about this shit all the time. This is the most,
Yeah.
we were talking about this like 2 minutes ago.
This is always
the
stuff
most-
that's just going on in there.
Yes.
It just never makes it in here.
The most not valuable, the thing I cherish most about this job is when I get to talk to my customers, when I get to talk about life, when I get to talk about this, cultural issues, societal issues, like,
And it's all organic.
which is an interesting duality because I go out of my way to make sure the business is not political. I don't take any stances on literally anything because this isn't the place for the skate park, for the business to have some stance on whatever it is.
No.
You come here to ride and enjoy it, and it's a super inclusive and diverse place where no one cares. And as we said earlier with Troy, like, this skate park is true inclusivity and diversity because no one talks about it. Other environments where it's about inclusivity and diversity, they're ramming it down your throat. They're talking about it all the time. Look how diverse we are. Look how inclusive we are. When you come to the skate park, no one is talking about it, and it is being exercised and practiced in real time without anyone acknowledging it. No one gives a fuck.
No.
You could be a girl, a boy, a black, white, trans, Native American, midget.
It doesn't matter.
You could be literally anything, and no one even acknowledges it.
And I think
it's true inclusivity.
And I think that goes to being said as something that just exists within street sports, within skateboarding, within BMX, within scooters. Is nobody cares.
Yes.
No one gives a shit. And you've mirrored that so well with the park.
Yes.
Is this embodies exactly that?
Yes.
There's
And
plenty of
I get
places
upset
that-
when you get some of the people who are more woke, left-leaning woke, where they're like, "Oh my God, skateboarding is just it's too white, it's too male," and it's like, well, it's true. Like the reality of skateboarding is for the most part. I digress. I'm not gonna say it's for white men. That's not true.
No.
The representation, the people that tend to do it, tend to be men. They tend to be white. They also tend to be 15 years old, right? But that doesn't mean there's somebody at the door of the skate park with a clipboard going, "Whoa, oh, buddy, no."
No.
That doesn't fucking exist. It doesn't exist anywhere. No one cares. If you show up and you're cool, no one cares. You don't even have to be good. Like, you could be terrible at skating, but if you got a great attitude, you're friendly, everyone loves you. Like, and no one acknowledges it. No one even cares.
No.
It is the most diverse and inclusive environment you can be.
And more often than not, I think when it comes to, being all of the really good riders that I've seen, whether it comes to skateboarding, BMX, scootering, rollerblading, whatever it may be, the guys show up who aren't as good, who aren't as skilled, who haven't been in the game long enough. They're well respected just because they showed up.
Yes.
They came to the party
Stevie
and took a
Palo.
seat.
Stevie Palo,
Make Stevie Palo
God
ride
bless
bikes
his
again.
heart, is
Love Stevie.
terrible at riding bikes. He is so bad. And I love you, Stevie.
I love Stevie.
But his vibes are so good. He's a hype man. He's so dude, everything about that dude is incredible.
Dude, I love hanging out with Stevie.
Incredible.
That's what. So I asked Blaise. The other day. Not that we want to go on a Stevie rant, but I asked Blaise the other day. I was like, "Hey, Stevie said that he was, he came and he worked with you guys at Carnegie a little bit, and he hung out in the kitchen." He was like, "Yeah, he, did dishes and he helped out where he could and gave a hand, but like, it's always so fun having him there because he just brings up all the energy, and everyone always gets distracted from what they're doing. But it's okay because everyone's so cool, everyone's so happy. He's all cracking jokes and telling stories. Like, it's beneficial to have people like that around."
Dude, like I said, it is the most inclusive environment. Everyone's welcome as long as the golden rule. If you're
Don't
not a
be
dick, you're good, dude.
Don't be a dick.
Tanner's watching the podcast. He just said Stevie's the man.
Stevie is the man.
Stevie's the fucking man, dude.
I'm gonna text Stevie about this later.
Like that's the beauty of these sports is like you could be incredible, but if you're a prick, no one cares. There are dudes in BMX, and this is going to be a BMX centric argument because I come from that world. There are a couple dudes in BMX who suck.
Yeah.
Like they're amazing riders, but like they never got a big sponsor. They never broke through. And you're like, man, that guy is good as the best guys. And you're like, why? He probably sucks. He's probably a dick. He's probably pretentious. He's probably cocky. There's a reason why the companies don't want to sponsor him.
Yeah.
And then there's other riders where it's like, man, that guy's been sponsored for like 10 years. He's not that good. It's like he might be a really good dude.
Yeah.
He might have good vibes. He's there. He's putting in the work despite there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. And I know you've been in this game long enough that you
Shout out
You've been able to see
Kevin
that.
Dane Willard. Sorry.
Yo, K. Dane Willard. I mean,
Kevin's my dude.
Kevin's awesome. I see all his stuff on Instagram all the time. But you've been in this game long enough that you've seen it firsthand, and my most recent firsthand experiences with it are just like you were saying. I worked for Kink for 3.5 years, and I got to meet a bunch of cool people there. And just throughout being in BMX, I've got to meet a lot of cool people. And just recently, me and a whole team of friends went to go do Dawn of the Streets in New York City. We were there for like 4 days. It was a blast. It was so much fun. But one of the biggest things that I try and live by, there's a handful of philosophies, is one of them is definitely don't meet your heroes. And I met a bunch of guys down on the streets who were so cool, so nice. You see them riding on Instagram, you see their clips, you've seen their video parts, you know, you ride their signature parts, whatever. Some of them are the coolest guys in the world. Some who I wouldn't expect to give me the time of day whatsoever. I went up, introduced myself, 15 minutes worth of conversation, you get a picture, we chit-chat, nicest people. Dakota Roche was one of them, super cool. Jordan
dude.
Godwin, awesome.
Don't know who that is.
He rides for Cult. I think he rides for Cult. Robbie talked to me for like an hour outside of some random bar in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Robbie's awesome. But even then, there were a handful of guys, I'm not going to name names, who I went up and introduced, and they pretty much just went, "Oh, cool, dude, nice to meet you," and just walked the other way. Could have cared less that I even existed.
We talk about music a lot, and this is probably going too far into the weeds for today. But like, we're talking about Converge, and
Yeah.
Converge is like, they're like a holy grail of music. Like they're like the Led Zeppelin of hardcore or anything that ends at the core. And when they play a show, they are like, they make it so painfully obvious that if you were not there watching them, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
They're like, thank you so much. They're not cocky. They're not pretentious. While there are other artists who are like, look at me, I'm so cool. And you get the same thing in action sports where some people are humble and they're like, thank you. Like, I'm so thankful that there's someone that will pay me, you know, $300 a month to ride bikes
Yeah.
or skateboard. And those other people are like, I'm the fucking man. And I've had no shortage of beef in the bike industry. And Jimmy's in the chat and he asked me top 10 Rochester pricks. Go. And I'm not going to answer that question. But there are people I've really upset in the BMX world by speaking my mind. And because and there's people, because these people are like, they think that like they're the man. Their opinion is worth more than everyone else's because they have this position or that position. And I'm gonna quote. This is great. I'm gonna quote Greg Walsh, and this is a great quote because Greg Walsh has had recently his life has turned fairly ignominious. Look it up if you don't know the definition of that word. But Greg was on a podcast, and I listened to podcasts because I like the way Greg thinks. And he said, pertaining to BMX, because that's where his background is, he said, it was like something along the lines of, you can respect something someone has done or accomplished, but it does not mean you have to respect the person who did it.
Yeah.
And that is so true. In action sports and BMX, there are plenty of people who are like, yeah, they did that thing, they filmed that video, they started the company, like, that's so respectable. But the person, like all people are flawed. Like, you look at like any of our founding fathers. Like, if you want to dig, you can tear anyone down when you want to play the moral relativism game with people in the past, or you want it's like it's so easy to tear people down.
Yeah. You can find anything. You really can if you need to.
Like, there's a lot of people think I'm a dick.
You are a dick.
I am a dick because those people can't handle the truth. I'm from New Jersey, and in New Jersey, you tell it how it is.
Yeah.
You're blunt, you're honest, you're upfront. That's probably part of the reason why the business has done as well as it has, because I'm blunt and I'm honest and I'm upfront. I'm not going to hide the ball. I'm not going to obfuscate. I'm not going to like lie to someone else. I'm not going to lie to myself or someone else.
Right. I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons that like I like you as much as I do as a mentor to me, is because I'm the type of person where people will come up with excuses or tell me reasons why they can't do something, and I was like, oh no, dude, I get it. It is what it is, and I just turn my head and walk away. I'll give you some excuse of why I didn't show up to dirt
bitch.
church or why I didn't come to
No.
bike night. And you're like, nah, dude, you're a pussy. Fuck you. And I'm like, damn it, he's right.
Dude, that's one of the reasons why I want to do this podcast. There's a few key things, and one of the things is parents need to buck the fuck up and realize that they're the parents and their kids are not little tyrants over them. And two is like, you're also you need to buck up against yourself.
Yes.
Like every day.
You are your own worst enemy.
How often you're like, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do this. And you don't fucking do it. Like, there's like so many messages that people just need someone to hear. They need to hear someone say frequently, like, no, like, don't be a whatever. Do the thing. Do the thing you said you'd do. Like, be the one watching. Like, one of the things I learned that changed my life was to watch yourself like you were watching someone else. So, like, look at your own patterns of behavior look at what you do as if you were someone else, and then reduce that to what you think is happening, right? And be like, well, I'm a good guy. Like, well, you seem to be at the bar at last call a lot, like 5 times a week, and I mean that's not really the most respectable thing. So like, if I was someone else looking at myself, I would think, man, that guy probably drinks too much.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I shouldn't do that as often as I do, right? Like,
Right.
look at yourself as someone else, and then make decisions
I agree.
based upon that data.
I think you hold people to a very high standard, and I don't think that's no. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it's a good
I
thing.
think people should hold themselves to those standards. I think you've done a lot for yourself, and you've dug yourself out of some holes, and I know you've seen people not be able to dig themselves out of the holes that they've dug, and I think you hold people to a standard that is realistic, and people just don't think it is. And people, I think a lot of people think you're a dick because you hold them to a correct standard.
I think what you're talking about is positive masculinity. I think there's been a huge emphasis on toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
And there's been virtually no talk of the other side of the spectrum, which is positive masculinity. And positive masculinity is like when you bear the brunt of the load and you do it in stride. Like there's like a dearth of conversation to young men about being a good man. And when you talk to men, and it could be you who's 20 something or my wife's son who's 11, when I say, oh, good men do this, something lights up in their eyes. Like, holy shit, no one's talked to me like this. Because like people talk down to men, like, oh, you need to be more docile, you need to be more like feminine, like society. Like, no, men need to, like, a man needs to be like strong and powerful, but controlled and disciplined, right? Like, women want a man who, if someone insults them, will step up and defend them and can hold their ground.
Yeah.
But behind closed doors is soft and gentle, the controlled, like the Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what you're supposed to be. But men now are either like too much this or too much that. They're like too docile and feminine. Like, regardless of what society tells you, no woman is going to be really into and turned on by a man who cannot defend themselves.
Yeah.
Who just is like, it's like no one wants that. And that's one thing that these sports teach people is like to deal with your own shit.
Yeah.
To go out there and deal, to face the dragon, face the, whatever it may be.
If I may quote a former U.S. president, speak softly and carry a big stick.
That's true. That's Teddy. That's my boy Teddy.
It's our boy, dude. I don't know. I think,
Do you know the man in the arena quote?
yes, I think about it very often since
We talked about Jeff Mucha earlier. After he helped me, I gave him a framed printout of the man in the, because he brought it up to me, and then I gave it to him.
That's one of those things that I think about a lot that you've said to me. There's so many like,
Have you
know.
thought about balance? No.
have you thought about balance? I don't know. There's so many conversations that we've had, sitting at, the trailhead or sitting in here playing guitar and eating ribeyes or,
love all
having
that
beers at Rest in Peace Acme, whatever it may be. There's so many conversations that stick in my head. A quote that you say fairly often that sticks with me a lot, I just got to use to someone else. Good friend of mine is having a daughter soon, and it's his first kid. He has no idea what he's doing. His significant other doesn't know what she's doing. Like this is a first for them. They just kind of jumped in and
Good.
and they're going to see what happens. And I wish him nothing but the best. But he had made a comment to me over text the other day, and he said, what was it that he said? He said that he was stressed out and baby's coming, everything's stressful. His mom's saying all these things and bringing up all this stuff and buying all this stuff, and he's worried, and his girlfriend, same thing. She's worried, and maybe not worried, but stressed out.
Girlfriend.
As I'm sure, yeah.
He needs to marry that woman.
Yeah, I know he does. We've been telling him that for a long time, but he same thing. He's talking about how stressful everything is, and the anticipation of everything coming, and the not knowing what's coming. I guess the lack of assurance. And I'd made a comment. I said, I'm sure at some point after the baby's born, things will tone back. It won't be as stressful. It'll be here. You'll have it. That'll be, rest assured, and you can focus on what's to come next. The stress will go elsewhere. It'll still be there, but it can kind of be dispersed. And he said, well, I'm sure we'll stress less, but we'll also sleep less. And I got to use one of my favorite quotes that you've told me, a Thomas Sowell quote of, there are no solutions in life, only trade-offs.
It's true.
And that's something that in so many situations that I get myself in where I'm trying to weigh the pros and cons and figure out the balance of you know, like when I started a new job, or, you know, whatever it may be, when I was moving, you know, a year and a half ago, all these things that, you know, you kind of sit down and write out the pros and cons of everything. I think about that. There are no solutions. Nothing's going to solve this. It's what are you going to trade for this to happen?
Having a kid is the ultimate trade-off. Like the trade-off of having, like in a lot of regards, I think the business was a bigger leap for me than having the child. But in this particular regard, it is different. Having a child is the biggest trade-off and is the scariest one. And it's the hardest cliff to jump off because, like, yeah, I work a lot, but it's only a little bit more than just working a lot in a normal job. It's a little more mentally intensive, but it's not like night and day. It's a little bit more. When you have a kid, your life fundamentally changes.
Yeah.
Like, it is totally different. And there's such a negative connotation in our society about having kids. Oh, you'll never have fun. You don't get, it's like, yeah, like you're not going to have fun in that way nearly as often. But the value you get from the kid, how rewarding it is like, it's like, I've heard this paradigm a few times. I thought it was a bit much, but they say like, you know, your happiness you thought was 1 to 10 was happiness, sadness, but really it was like 4 to 6. And now it's like -10 to 20, right? When you have a kid, I don't think it's that much, but I think that's also because I have a lot of passion in my life to begin with. And I have a lot of value and a lot of focus on long-term and the skate park and all this stuff. So I'm a little bit different, but that is the case that when you have a kid, life is totally different. You don't get to do these things that you think are really important, like going out with your boys during the Bills game or whatever. But you have this kid and it's like, yo, I made that.
Yeah.
Like I made that thing. And now that thing, and it's funny, like my daughter's amazing and she's been clapping. You're like, holy shit,
she's
she's
doing it here earlier.
clapping. And like to anyone outside, I'd be like, who fucking cares? And like, well, when she was born, she couldn't even lift her head up.
Yeah.
Right? And now she can walk, and now she's clapping, and she's made a sound that's almost a word. And it seems so pedantic and shallow to someone else that hasn't been there. But, like, no, it's crazy. And you can tell. I can tell. When I go places with Alice, it's incredible. I walk into a place, no one gives a fuck.
No.
I walk in with Alice, and they're like, oh, my God.
Eyes
there's a
light
baby.
up, dude.
Like, everywhere you go, people are so stoked you're there. Like... It's really a cool experience. And you can tell who's had a kid or has been around children because you walk into a room, they see this adorable little 8-month baby, and their eyes light up, and they're like, "Holy shit! This is like this really fleeting thing. It goes away so quick." And then it's beautiful because once they get to like 2 and 3 and 4, they're in those areas for a while. But that first year, man, the first 7 months. She's just a baby, and you can hold her.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. And then once she's past that stage, I cannot hold her like a baby anymore. She won't do it. It's over.
Yeah.
Game over, right? And now
She's kind of there now.
Now it's like a different thing. So like, the point I was trying to make is sometimes you walk to a place, people make eye contact with you, they look at the baby, and they go. Other people look at you and they just look away.
Yeah.
Like no response. I'm like, oh, you haven't been around this yet, and I get it because I was the same way. I was, a year ago, I was like, who fucking cares? Babies are loud, they're annoying, or whatever. And now I've lived through it, and it's like, no, now I see babies, and I'm like, oh my God, how old? What's she doing?
You've done it a couple times here at the park.
Dude, it's, oh my God, how's it doing? Like, it's like, you've been there. It's great.
I will say 2 things.
Hold on. If you're a buddy, you can give him my number. You don't gotta tell him. Be like, yo, just text this guy and tell him you're gonna have a kid and tell him, say, hey, you got any advice? I will fucking give him like 3 paragraphs that'll change his life.
Oh, I'm sure. You know who he is. I'm not going to name drop him, but just in case he doesn't.
Really?
Yeah, you know who it is. It's Russ's last mechanic.
Luke?
No. DJ.
DJ's having a
DJ's
kid.
having
okay.
a kid. No, Luke's getting married though.
No.
He moved
To a
down
girl?
Yeah. He moved down to Kentucky with his family. His dad moved down to Kentucky to
Yeah.
work at like a GM plant down there.
Yeah.
And he stayed up here with his brother for like 3 or 4 years afterwards. And then he was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to move to Kentucky and live with my family. And then he like met a girl down there and
Sick.
they're getting married. And DJ's now having a kid.
Sick.
And yeah, now I just like drink beers and ride bikes.
All right.
So like of the 3 people that were in that friend group, I'm the one who's like still doing the fun stuff.
I really gotta pee, so I'm gonna go pee. Why don't you talk to the people for a minute?
We're going to do an intermission. Dave's peeing intermission. Yeah. I don't know. I'll just rant about Dave for a minute. Dave has done more for me than anybody in my life aside from my parents birthing me. Troy's in. Troy's in here. Troy's back.
The idiots have taken over the asylum. Hey, hey, how you doing? Let me, what can I pitch here?
I don't know.
I have a
You have an
crypto.
OnlyFans?
I have an. I was gonna say crypto coin. It's because like, hey, everyone buy my crypto coin. It's was that the Hawktua Troy?
coin?
Yeah, Hawktua Troy. I got my own coin. You know, hashtag Hawktua coin. Thanks. Okay, see you later.
What I was saying was, he's back again. He's gonna pitch. Now he's gonna pitch his OnlyFans.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm a Christian. So, what do you think of the live stream? How long have we been going here?
We're gonna go for a minute now, I guess.
Yeah. So 52 views, seven people here right now. Okay. Hey guys, can you hear me right now? I can got the thing. I got the you
It's
know.
on delay.
Well, not only that, you can't hear anything because it's like
It's really like
it reverberates like
Yeah.
crazy. So by the time it gets back here, you can't even make out what the
what's
know.
actually being said.
Yeah, exactly.
When I was standing out there earlier, and like you were in here, and Tanner was in here, Nate was in here. I had no idea what anybody was saying. Dude, there's so much. There's like 2 buckets of drywall screws in here.
Oh yeah.
Whose
what's
jean
in it?
jacket is this?
I mean, I like the where's the jean? Oh, jean jackets. I could look at
On the
jean
disc
jacket.
golf.
Yeah, I could definitely rock that. I like the lighting. The lighting is real nice. I like all the sound deadening is here is impressive. Like it's it's pretty. Oh shit.
Boss is back.
Oh dude. I already pitched my coin.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You sell Bitcoin?
It's called Hawktua Troy. It's my own coin.
Hawk Troy.
Yeah, Hawktua Troy.
Hour and 30 here. Get someone in here. Let's do a thing.
Blaise is in here with the 30.
Blaise is in here with the 30.
Are those Millers colder than this Jenny?
Yes. Oh, they came out of the bed of my truck.
Yeah, they're pretty close. I'll do a Miller. I already had a Jenny. I don't condone drinking, especially if you're a minor.
I mean, I got a lot of drinking to do.
Get Scott. I want Scott.
want
Get
Scott?
Scott in here.
Get Scott in here.
Get Scott in here. Thank you. Thank you for everything, Kyle. Appreciate you. We'll have you on again soon.
Get in here, Scott.
Have a seat, Scott.
Right in here. How you doing?
You get this mic right up in front of your face.
There, right in front.
Yeah, this is Scot Makai. Scott with 1 T. What's the deal with that?
Saving ink through
Yeah.
the years. Saving ink through the years,
Yeah,
I think.
scooch up, scooch up.
All right, I make love to this thing. 1T, yeah, it's quite white.
What?
It's quite white.
Closer.
My name is quite white.
Quite white. Okay.
Yeah.
So Scott, you're what? You're what? What are you in Grok?
Stewardship chair.
Stewardship shop Grok.
yeah.
Grok is Genesee Regional Off-Road Cyclist. We've done a podcast with Rob, the president, former president. I'm not sure at this point. You might be president next. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go.
Yeah, possibly.
But you're an avid cyclist, mountain biker, right?
Mountain biker,
Super
yeah.
involved in local trails and stuff like that. So, I mean, skate parks aren't exactly your domain.
No.
But I'm going to ask you what I've asked everyone tonight is, so what is, for you, it's cycling. What is it to you? Like what is it?
Oh man, jeez, it goes way back. It goes
Yeah.
way back to, like when I got my first bike as a kid. It was the ability to explore the neighborhood and
Freedom.
Yeah, freedom, and making a left turn or right turn, right? Freedom to go wherever you want, and that was it was great. Release, being able to experience that.
How many bikes do you think you've owned in your lifetime?
Oh, jeez. Maybe 20. That's pretty low.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bikes are great.
Yeah. Yeah, probably 20. I have a BMX that's still out in the ether. I need,
Oh yeah.
Need to,
What was
need
it?
to buy
Was it Gary Fisher?
Mongoose.
Mongoose. Okay.
Yeah. It was more of a racing bike instead
Okay.
of a trick bike.
That's before my time.
Yeah.
Cause I got into it in the era they would call like late mid school. So I'm after racing was a thing.
Okay. Yeah. And this was before the clipless and super skinny BMX tires. But,
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
it was great. There was a place called Hamburg Nike Base. And that's where they
In
had
Hamburg?
yeah, in Hamburg, New York.
You're from Hamburg?
I'm from Eden,
Okay.
which is south of Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a really cool BMX track there, and I actually still have a trophy from that place.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Second place.
Racing is crazy.
Yeah.
I always rode street. It was very technical, very precision, slow pace. And because I ride slow, my whole paradigm of BMX and cycling in general is about confidence divided by speed. And the thing is, the riders who are really confident at high speeds can be confident at medium speeds. Usually not so much at slow speeds. But that confidence works down, it doesn't work up. I'm very confident at like slow to medium speeds. When I get out of that domain of speed, I lose all confidence. I don't like when I was at Ray's this past weekend. A bunch of the Rochester boys were up there, and Ricky and Sean. I was watching them jump the big jumps, and I was like, "Whoa! I didn't know those guys could do that.
Oh yeah.
I can't do that. Like I don't. That pace of riding is so far out of my comfort zone. It scares the crap out of me. I just don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's funny because like empirically, I have way more bike control than those guys.
Oh, for sure.
And that's not to say that those guys don't have bike control, but the particular type of riding that I do is very much about precision and bike control.
Yeah.
And that shit scares the crap out of me. Dude, it's crazy. And that's why in the mountain bike world, I like the XC because it's more like you're doing the work. It's more proactive than reactive. And as you go into the higher and higher pace into downhill parks and free ride, the ratio of proactive to reactive changes.
That's
you know?
interesting. Yeah.
I always think about biking in that ratio, proactive to reactive.
Right.
BMX is like 95% proactive, and then when you get into that 5% reactive, it's because something went wrong, you know?
Right. So would you classify motocross as reactive? Like,
Man, motocross would be. I mean, when you're doing it right, it's all proactive.
right.
Yeah, it's very. You have to be proactive, because like you're hitting those divots and you're like you have to hit it right, and when you hit it wrong, like things go bad quick.
Right. But you see, like, they're hitting the throttle and the back end's moving around.
Yeah.
They're like agile on it.
I would say motocross is probably. We're saying like supercross, right? Like that sort of racing.
Sure.
I'd say that it's probably still more proactive than like downhill mountain biking.
Right. Yeah.
Like you hit some of those rock gardens and you're picking your lines,
yeah.
but you have to be extraordinarily reactive. You have to be
Yeah.
loose. You have to be back. Yeah.
Yeah. That's been my experience at some of the downhill parks where you're going on more technical trails. It's much more reactive, but
Yeah.
I need to practice being proactive on the bike too.
And people are always like, "Oh, you would love downhill parks, Dave," and I'm like, "No, I wouldn't." Like, "Oh, you ride BMX, you own a skate park." I'm like, I don't do those sorts of stuff. Man, you get me probably above 15 miles an hour, honestly, and I get pretty nervous.
Right.
And it's like
Yeah.
it's out of my wheelhouse. I'm like I tense up. I just don't have that bike control anymore.
Right.
Like
That's what I don't know. I just started a couple of years ago going to downhill parks and wanting to jump more, and that feeling of being in the air and like almost like catching your tongue and your
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
I love it. I don't
That's
know,
awesome.
It's so cool. But then there's downside too if you're not on the wheels.
True. What do you think your life would be like if you didn't have bikes in it?
I don't know. I would hope that even if bikes weren't part of it, it would still be fulfilling. But I don't know. There would be something missing. I think I'd be,
Yeah.
a hiker more, probably more hiking, or because I like the mountain bike, getting out in the woods.
That's a lot of people's go-to answer. Like, if you don't BMX, if you didn't have BMX in your life, what would you do? I'd probably skateboard. No, that's a cheat answer, right? Like, oh, I wouldn't mountain bike. I just hike the same trails. No, you wouldn't.
No,
Like-
well, maybe not the same
Yeah,
trails,
yeah.
but you get out there.
It's so much. It's freedom, right? It's expression. It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I could. I mean, the bikes were invented quite a while ago, so you'd have to
It's true.
I'd have to grow up in a.
Yeah. Now, when you go out and ride, are you a headphones guy? Do you ever listen to music
Oh.
sometimes?
No,
Never.
no. Well, I listen to music, but not while I'm riding.
Never headphones when you ride. Never
Nope,
listen to anything.
never. No.
So you're just out there with your thoughts.
I've done the train.
You just mountain bike and raw dog.
Raw dog, yeah,
Yeah.
no sound, or just the sound of the bike and the.
Do you
wind and-
think a lot while you're riding? Do
Yes.
You, about
Uh,
this or about this?
Well, it's evolved. I think
Yeah.
I've been riding bike for a while, so I'm not like an expert or anything, but I can handle the bike, and so I find myself kind of taking in the scene and the sights, and being part of the stewardship committee. I look at trails, design, and the terrain that it's on. So I sometimes don't take a break and look at the trail and try to decipher why they did this or that, or.
I will gauge my own psyche based on how much my thoughts wander, right? So if I want to shred, like if I want to go out there, redline my heart, and I put on some really aggressive music and I just go for it, right? Sometimes I want to think about life or work or problem solving, and I'll go out there and sometimes I just take in the nature. Sometimes I put on music that has no words, instrumental,
Yeah.
to let the thoughts wander. Sometimes I just let my brain tell me where I want to be, right? If I'm trying to listen to a podcast, generally speaking, I won't ever listen to podcasts while mountain biking. It requires too much mental space to actually mountain bike. It'll be like an on-road thing. But either way, regardless of what I'm riding, sometimes I go out there, I'll be listening to music or something like that, and I'll find my thoughts keep taking me to some place, right? And that's a cue to me. I have some ducks I need to get into a row, and I'll turn off the music, shut it down, and while I ride, I will only think. And through you would call it's mindfulness, really. Through mindfulness training, I can like read my own thoughts, and sometimes I go out to ride. I'm about to ride for exercise today, but I get out there and my thoughts are telling me, oh no, this is a stress relieving ride, and I need to let whatever wants to come to mind, and sort through those things throughout my ride. And I'm gonna stay out here until I feel happy, and I'll get to a point where it just clicks, and I can put music on, and if I could just focus on the music and groove and have fun, I'm like, oh, then that means I've done my job out here today, and I can feel if I don't have enough time to go out and ride or run or whatever works in my schedule, the pressures of life, it builds up and it builds up, and I feel the tension. I need to have that meditative space to let those thoughts kind of self-sort into the places they need to be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. For a while there, during college, I was trying to practice for cross-country racing, and I would be like, this is a high cadence ride, or, and I wouldn't allow myself to get outside of that, and that was probably a not a good thing to practice. That's really insightful to allow it to happen. I mean, I guess I do that right now. I don't train, per se to get a segment or whatever, but if I'm not enjoying myself, then I don't ride, I guess. I don't know. Like, I haven't, like, riding is just riding for me. I haven't given it too much thought these past couple years. I want to get better at certain things, and so I'll set out to get those goals, try to attain those goals.
What do you mean by better?
Well, like jumping right now, right?
Skills better.
Skills better,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
I used to be obsessed with riding, and like different rides, you have different goals. I'm going to attack these segments, or I'm going to work on this skill, or I'm going to just I'm trying to hit my heart rate at 200 this week,
Nice.
Whatever it is, But I would just sit here at work thinking about it. And I don't have that drive anymore. which is fine. I have other stuff going on.
Other stuff, right?
I was telling Kyle earlier, like in the past, I was not a happy person. I was like super unhappy, super miserable, super depressed, and I like figured out my life through cycling, and I have such an affinity for cycling because of that. And it doesn't have to be cycling; it's just something you do. Like walking, I don't know if walking's quite enough, but you need
Right.
when you're cycling, it's taking up some percentage of your brain power, 20%, 30%, and then the other percent you could think. Right? It's like you're occupied, but it's not too much.
You're in the zone.
And like I started reading books and podcasts and audiobooks, and through that meditative space of riding, man, I was like drilling on myself, like trying to think about this, think about this, think about this. Man, it changed my life. And it could be other things, but cycling really does seem like the perfect fit, because like you could pick like rock climbing or basketball or something, but like it's not that like steady, repetitive, heart rate's up, cadence to the legs stays the same, pedal, 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 pedal. You're just in that zone, in that zone, in that zone, in that zone.
Mm-hmm.
That rhythmic aspect to it. It really is life changing, man. Biking is the best. Like, obviously, the skateboarding and scootering and all that stuff happens here, but like, biking scales, and it ages well. You could start racing BMX or freestyle BMX, sending yourself down handrails, and when you're 70, you could be on an e-bike on the canal, and you're still getting something close to it.
Right.
Skateboarding doesn't scale the same way, man. When you get older, the problem with skateboarding is, no matter how good you are at what you're doing, the imminent danger of a little pebble on the ground can ruin your day or your week, really. You know,
Right. Right.
bikes are the best.
Yeah.
I spent a couple of years doing like 4,000 miles a year, just like, man, and I'm a different person on the outside of that. And part of that was like the audiobooks and the podcasts and taking those thoughts and ideas and philosophies and trying to and put them into practice in real time. It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's how I like to
It
ask
is.
people. Some people like they just have it. There's like no thought behind those eyes, and they're just riding.
Right. Right. No. Yeah. A lot of times now I find myself like just enjoying the woods, like navigating the trail and enjoying it, obviously. But I'm in the zone, kind of. I'm not preoccupied with some other things. It's like I just close the door of my car and jump on my bike, and it's like,
I don't get to do it too much now with the baby and everything, but man, I loved those days when I had less responsibilities, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna ride all day. I don't know where or what. I'm gonna leave my house, and maybe I'll go there, and you just pedal and pedal and pedal, pedal.
there was a time
pedal. Oh man,
when I was, training for cross country, but I'm like, I just want to ride my bike longer.
Yeah.
Like I want to be in shape to just enjoy, do an activity that I enjoy thoroughly longer for more time, right?
when I started really mountain biking, back after I opened the skate park, literally my mindset was like, man, if the uphills didn't suck so much, this would be really fun. It's like, I'm just gonna drill on hills. I'm gonna just hammer up hills, and I'm gonna get so strong at going up hills that even going up hills is fun. And I like climbing. Till to this day, like I
Right.
enjoy a good climb as much as I like as a descent.
Yeah.
I guess there's definitely some parable there for life. Life loving the tough times. I guess
Right? Embracing the suck.
anyone can enjoy the good times.
Yeah. Haha.
Yeah, I find there's a lot of things I find myself recurring concepts and ideas, but one of them it's kind of in line with this. But it's like I said it to my wife's son recently. That was like people don't judge you at how you are at your best, like bombing down a hill. You are actually judged at how you are at your worst. No, like people don't really care about how much you love the people you love. They're gonna pay attention to the vitriol you have towards the people you hate. And I try not to never harbor hate. I try to give the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh well, they never experienced that. They don't know any better. Like people will judge you. Like, oh, the person, the person. You have a lot of integrity if you extend respect to someone who's not showing respect toward you. And I think that's similar to that, like learning to love pedaling uphill, no matter how much it sucks. You gotta respect it because you don't get to bomb down the hill unless you get to go pedal up the hill.
Right.
I guess unless you pay lift access,
Yeah.
I guess,
Right.
or e-bike.
Yeah. Things are changing. Times are changing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always that tenet of earning your turn, earning your.
And I'm not that much e-bike, but there is that part of me where it's like, on a real bike, acoustic bike, if you will, like you have to earn it, right? There's a part of you where it's like I've earned it for years. I've learned to love the pain, the burn, enjoy the uphills, and now you just get pedal assist. That's not fair, you know. Like I can admit, I'm gonna be a little bit spiteful about the e-bike stuff. Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know. The jury's out. Not jury's out, but I'd like to see more data on who's using e-bikes and what are they
Yeah,
using
for sure.
you know?
If it gets more, especially like around here, like we don't have beginner trails, right? If you go to Bay Park West, most riders pick whether it be blue or purple. You pedal in, you're like you're done,
Yeah.
right? If the e-bike helps them get in the door, you know,
Right. Yeah.
it's a person riding that wasn't riding earlier, right?
Right.
You're better off riding than not riding. Tell you what,
Right.
you're better off with an e-bike than taking Ozempic, I would think, you know.
Right. Yeah. Just getting out for sure. And if e-bike does it, then
Because part of the benefit is the fresh air. It's the sunlight.
yeah, nature bathing
Ugh.
or forest bathing.
Or, yeah, I'm grounding too. Yeah,
And
dude, I'm totally down.
There's a Japanese term too. It's called forest bathing, I think. But it's the direct like definition is bathing in the shadows of the leaves.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
I absolutely love it.
like the leaves are blocking the sun and it's moving around and you're just out there.
For me, it's been the organic shapes. That's it. Like I feel like you live in the city. Your house is rectangular, squares, right angles. The streets are right angles. Everything's straight lines. It's just so rigid and confining. And then you go in the woods.
Yeah.
Nothing is straight. There's no
Right,
straight lines.
yeah.
Everything is flowing. It's organic. You. One thing I love about being in the woods is you see the whole process of decay. You'll see a healthy tree, a growing tree, a dead tree. The tree has been there for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You see that mound of dirt, used to be a tree. The slightest remnants of life is still there. And it's so humbling because you could be that pile of dirt one day, you know. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
You don't really get that in a skate park, but that's a
Right.
different thing
Yeah.
entirely. Even that, I'm in the skate park all the time, and it's again very geometric. Very, I love being in the woods because it's so opposite to where I spend most of my time. You need that the complement and that duality in life.
Right. Lately, I don't know, I appreciate the history of things too. So, certain parks were not parks before. This place was, a manufacturing plant.
Correct.
And just learning about those things and seeing how, the forest evolves, the trail system evolves, or this building evolves. And, but
I'm sure we could do plenty of time in here talking about this or history because we're both get into the weeds on that shit. I love that stuff so much. I love, man, that whole idea, like all of our history, the whole paradigm in which we gauge the modern world is based on some snapshot that was taken somewhere between like 1750 and 1850, and it's all based on that.
right.
Who cares? The idea of indigenous people is based on like that. Like I took a picture, Polaroid came out. It's all based on that. It's like we've been around for like this 250-year-old snapshot of the world, and humans been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It's way off in the weeds
Yeah,
now. but
sorry about that.
no, it's cool. The whole goal with restarting the podcast here is to do this and chill and be laid back and talk about whatever. And I want to do this way more often and way more frequently. And just like whatever happens. Sometimes we can get into the nitty gritty here about skateboard wheel size and diameter and diameter and shape and contact patch, or we'll talk about some cultural shit or Rochester history of whatever. Like, I think it's good. I don't know.
Right.
That's what I want to do, so I'm going to do it. I guess.
D8s maybe too.
What's a D8?
I don't know. Isn't a D8 a train? No. What's
No. Oh, a F8, F9?
a F9?
Oh, yeah, Alco.
Damn, I forgot about what was it?
We could talk about trains.
Another episode maybe.
I'm getting text about the live chat and everything.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. That's pretty good. We got 5 viewers right now. I think one
There
of
was,
them,
like-
one of them's probably out there.
There was 7 earlier.
We have 56 total viewers. It's been almost over 2 hours now. It's pretty good. But we did 8 years. I'm glad you're here for 8 years.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations.
Thank you.
So happy to be here and see you
Yeah.
working through.
It's
all
way
this.
past my bedtime.
Is it? Yeah.
But I have to get used to this. If we're going to do Wednesday night live streams, this is how it's going to be.
Oh, nice.
Got our new studio here.
There's like a dollar bill or something stuck in here.
I don't think so. It's not a stripper, Scott.
No, but there's no money you found in the pit.
No.
No. Watch.
No, all this foam came from Syracuse, and there might have been some change at the bottom. A lot of wristbands
Okay.
from the foam pit, or from the trampoline park or whatever. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Awesome. Great run. We're gonna see 8 more. Oh yeah.
It would be an absolute dream and a pleasure to make it 8 more years. The way it's sounding right now, it's like I'm gonna have to, crawl through broken glass to get to these last 2 years on my lease. It's gonna be, looks like horrific to get there, and based on the numbers now, it looks like there's a very slim chance I get out of this without being in debt. But things
Yeah.
can turn around.
Things can change.
And I'm hopeful, and I'm gonna continue working and grinding because why the fuck not? Like I'm here, so I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
And if things turn around and I can go back to the numbers I was doing pre-COVID, like, yeah, I would love to be here in 8 more years. I would love for the skate park to be a part of more people's lives, to be part of my daughter's life. Like 20 years would be a sick goal. Like 10's great, but 20 would be incredible,
Oh my
you know?
gosh.
So who knows? The way it sits right now, I don't know if I want to stay in New York State for another 10 years,
Right.
but I know that things can change pretty quickly, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Election cycle.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens right now. Federally, like, it looks like the deck is stacked to things to really quite change. It looks like a 1980 moment, like when like Reagan got elected. Things could change. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? You don't know.
Yeah.
That's why they call it history. They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it echoes, you know?
Nice.
And, yeah,
Super happy to be here. Thanks.
me too. Yeah, thank you for the 57 live viewers we had, the 6 concurrent viewers at the moment, all the people in the live chat, P. Kyle and Kevin Willard down in Texas. Every year at the business I try new things, and this is going to be the thing I do. I think now we're going to try to do live streams, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. I'm going to start leaning towards social and political issues I've always avoided talking about because maybe this stirs people up. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't know. But I'm at the point now where I'm like, let's try something different, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So, what up, Ryan?
Oh, he's coming in.
Why, no. You're
Here.
right. Why don't you trade
Wanna
out?
have a seat?
No. You're coming. No, give me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5
minutes. I was
See-
just
see everyone.
finishing. I was just finishing up anyway.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Scott. Literally, I'm at an hour and 58 minutes, so I'm gonna finish this thing up in like 2 minutes.
I can last 2 minutes.
You could last 2 minutes. I heard that about you. This is Ryan Statt, cyclist.
Cyclist.
That's right.
I love cycling.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked everyone. I'll let you give me an answer, and then we're gonna finish this thing off or send it home. What is biking to you? What is it?
Biking's life. I mean, just be able to have the freedom to go where you are. Like, growing up, ever since I had my first bike, I was just able to get out there and just explore and just opened everything, really. Plus, like, getting out of the house and the environment I was raised in, just, like, being able to go find my own area and path and stuff is just... And yeah, just meeting the people, the communities, like everything, just what biking has done for you and what you can do for it, just giving back and yeah.
Everyone's answer has been freedom.
Yeah.
What you just explained to me was freedom. Is when you're a kid and you get to go out and do it's freedom, right? And it's freedom, and then that freedom becomes expression, and then the expression ends up becoming community.
Wow. Yeah, you been taking notes on that, Ron?
No, I've been here
Yeah,
for
just
2
same
hours talking
conversation.
about this. I live this life. I'm here every day. 8 years. And before, I'll tell you I'll give you a little framework of this whole thing. My life story has been this expanding circle, right? First, it was me and my bike, right? I was riding my bike, you know. I didn't know BMX existed. I just rode my bike. It was sick, right? Then my dad got me a Harrow. It was probably the year 1999, 2000. It was a 2001 Harrow. And I was like, dude, sick, you know. And I was building some jumps in my yard. You know, I literally didn't know what BMX was, right? Then in 8th grade, I met Tom Molyneux. This is the dude who ultimately showed me BMX. We were in 8th grade math class, and he had a BMX magazine. And I was like, what is that?
Oh,
And
yeah.
he was like, oh, yeah, it's BMX. And I was like, boom, my head fucking exploded. I did not know
That
that
world.
BMX was a thing. I thought I was jumping off the lip on the side of my driveway and was like turning my bar. I thought I was like inventing my own thing. And I saw the magazine and like literally like I was like, holy, like, oh my God, right? So then it was like, oh my God, BMX is a thing. A year and a half later, when I was a freshman in high school, we met each other again, and I was like, dude, I want to I want to do that that BMX thing. That thing's cool because he was wearing a BMX shirt. He had a magazine. I'm like, I want to know, you know. So I rode my bike to his house. He had a quarter pipe in his yard. I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. He's showing me bike videos. My head's exploding. I was like, this is a world I didn't know existed, right? So then it was like, it wasn't just like me riding my bike. Then it was like me and like, holy, this is whole world, right? So then it was like, all right, Tom, he's got a camera. He's filming videos, you know, and I sucked at riding. But him and his other friend, they were so good, you know. And in hindsight, they weren't that good. It's just I was terrible, and they were kind of all right.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, I hope I was good enough one day to like be able to like film a bike trick, you know. And he made his first video, and I had like one clip in it, and it wasn't even a trick because I couldn't do anything. And then he made a second video, and I was good. I was still like the worst one, but I was like good enough, you know, to have some clips. I had a section in his video. I got pretty good. I did a handrail in the video. I got pretty good.
Hell yeah.
And so then it was like, oh man, I'm part of this crew, right? Then we had like a falling out, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna keep doing the thing he was doing, but it'll be my thing, you know. So then it was like, not just me and my bike in my driveway, and then this community. Then it was like me, and I'm pulling in these people, and it's my bubble. We're filming the thing
Yeah.
or whatever. And then I started working with the bike shop. Through the bike shop, we started doing events. I had a team. We're doing videos. We're having jams. And it was like me and my bike and my friends and my local community. And things actually worked really well for me in Jersey at Planet Bike when I was doing all that. It was kind of like a big deal. Then I moved to Rochester. I started working at RASP. And it was like, okay, now it's expanded beyond just BMX. It's like skateboarding and everything else, right? And RASP turmoil. I start BFS. Now it's even bigger, right? Now I've been doing this for so long, it's like I realized it's so much more about the kids than anything else, right? And now I have a kid.
Yeah.
And like
Full circle.
And it's like this little bubble, this whole circle has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And like
You
and
never
like,
thought it would go to where
Dude.
it went. Like, honestly, you never, did you ever think you'd own your own
Yes.
skate park? Really? You always
Yes.
like saw that in your
No, I thought I'd have a
future?
bike shop, but
Yeah.
skate parks, that's close. Because I
Yeah.
was always a street rider, so skate park wasn't on my radar.
Right.
But yeah,
It
similar.
wasn't really a thing too, like indoor skating.
Yeah.
Well, back then. it
Also, like
was.
when you're 15 and you come to a skate park, it's so grandiose, you don't think it's even achievable. You know?
Oh yeah. No, it's the journey. Just bikes take you. Just who you'll meet, what you'll do, what impacted you, and what you'll impact in the future. Like
Yes.
what you've done here is like incredible. Like pushing, like just even like constantly changing this place up too.
It's
Like,
it's crazy for one
it's
person.
really
it's crazy.
Because I was
get
talking to Blaise too about it, and it's like he was saying like, wood from his first jump in his backyard is like built into the history, and then he was talking about the World War II factory that this is even about.
World War One.
World War One.
Yeah, one.
The cannon. He was trying to find the photo of the cannons and stuff.
Yep.
That was,
1918.
that's
They were boring
incredible.
75 millimeter cannons in here.
Yeah, and now we're just
Yeah.
riding our bikes and skating
Yeah.
it up.
Dude, it's crazy. It's so crazy. I get lost in the sauce because I'm just working, and then every once in a while it'll be like I'm closing up, half the lights are off, the fan is on. I gotta walk across the skate park. I unplug the fan. I turn around and I'm like, and it hits me like a sack of bricks, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude! It's
This is
like
all mine.
20,000 square feet. Like, look at the size. And I don't even think about it. I'm like, this is every day. Like, this place exists because I'm here.
Mhm.
I'm paying 10 grand a month in rent. Like, I'm making it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
If I were to stop every day and think about that, the pressure of that would fucking destroy me.
Oh yeah.
Right? I have to just like be on the treadmill, running every day, making it work. It's dude, it's unbelievable.
And then the maintenance alone, just
Dude.
working on it. Yeah, that's kind of good though. It kind of keeps your head down and just like got to fix
Yes.
it, got to keep it good.
Head
but
down
then-
work.
But yeah, every once in a while you gotta just look around and be like, wow, this is it. Like this is like nowhere else really has a place like this. Like not for like all like you got BMX, you got skateboarding, you got scooters, you got rollerblades, you have the little Strider events for the kids. Like
Yep.
it's like it really is such an amazing
Homeschool
thing for the
program.
community. Yeah,
The
summer
bike shop,
summer programs,
bike
yeah.
share, summer camp, dude. Everything, because you have to.
And you drop off bikes that you worked on. No one does that.
Yes, because you have to. Like what is it? It's like ingenuity is the product of design, or what's the thing? It's like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Just like if when you have to do it, you figure it out. You have to do it because you
Gonna
have
do
to, right?
You find the best way to do it. Well, not even not the best way, but you get it done. Like, and you are a doer. And as shown.
This is crazy. This is awesome. I have a great life. The skate park's awesome. Hopefully, I can keep everything going. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Blaise and Kyle who are out here. Nate's been on. Troy's been on. Scott was on. Who started it with me?
Tanner.
Tanner started. Tanner's texting me right now a bunch of shit. Thank you to everyone. Thank you that's coming to the skate park.
Please keep coming.
Please keep coming. Do not come.
I would
Do
like to
not
say
come.
thank you. Don't come.
I'm gonna come.
But happy birthday.
Thank you.
8 years. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Thank you for all your sacrifice and
Thank
what
you.
you've done. I know you don't like hearing it, but I appreciate you, and everyone
No, I love
in the
hearing it.
community appreciates you.
I just pretend I don't because that's what you're supposed to do. Keep telling me. Tell me I'm so pretty.
But free high five. 8 years
Hell
strong.
yeah.
8 years getting by.
This is the new format. I'm gonna try to do maybe every Wednesday. Just getting here, close skate park at 10, jump in here, do like an hour, and just super laid back, talk about whatever. Like you do some ski slope stuff, snow stuff.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
Starting
Maybe
up.
one day we talk about that. I don't know. Just chill. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
Have some conversation.
Definitely. There's a lot going out there, and yeah, whoever wants to hear about it can hear about it.
Love it. Thank you. I appreciate you. I
Yeah,
appreciate the work
I appreciate
you do.
you, man.
Hopefully,
Everything you're doing, man.
hopefully,
Keep it
yeah.
up.
Thank you to our 59 total viewers, 6 congruent at the
Wow.
moment, which is fucking awesome. Hopefully, I can figure out a way that I could export this audio, upload it to the podcast form. It's over 2 hours. It's crazy. And
cool.
thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. Thank you for everyone that comes to the skate park, not just today, but every day. It's been 8 years. Let's keep the dream alive. And I will see you at the skate park later.
Long live break.